Hello and welcome to Yolt Presents Joker's Trick.
We live in a society.
The first and only podcast dedicated to the cinematic version of the Joker.
Is that true?
Yes, actually.
Oh my god.
As far as we know.
As far as
Do
we
people
know.
hate money?
I guess so. But anyway, this is a podcast where we're taking a look at all the Joker films, both official and unofficial. My name is Joke or Jake or Joke. What are we still? What? Fuck.
No, commit to the bit.
Okay, Joke. I'm Joke. I'm Joke.
My name is I'm Batman. Or I'm Troy.
And Jan is dead. You can call me Idea. And wait till you get the load of me. Whoop. Whoop.
And Paul is Enema.
This town needs an enema.
And Paul is an enema.
Paul's Bob.
Yeah. Well, I'm still old Joker, but Bob the Goon is pretty old, so maybe he's old Joker.
You are a number one.
I am your number one guy.
You said it like Trump, Paul.
Oh, man.
I mean, I know you're a sophisticated guy. The world is a mess. The world is as angry as it gets.
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight and other fun jokes? Because, yeah, today we are talking about the first true Joker movie on our Joker-themed podcast.
Oh.
Cabaret.
Close. No. Get Eddie Redmayne out of here.
Full Metal Jacket.
All right, reset. We're talking about Batman 1989. Also known as Joker.
We've mentioned this before, and I think it's true, it's the first movie by a real director that we've ever reviewed in this movie podcast, and we're like on our 50th episode.
Suck it, Sam Mendes. We're not covering Cabaret.
We're discounting Michael Apted and Sam Mendes, I guess.
Yeah, that was it. Come on. 7-Up, whatever. I can also film myself doing stupid shit as a 7-year-old. That doesn't make me a director.
Somewhere Martin Campbell is like crying under a Legend of Zorro poster.
That's very mean to say to Guy Hamilton, who was one of the people considered to direct this movie.
Yeah, with Richard Maybaum as the screenwriter.
Yes. So should we get into production details?
There are many, and Jake has I had quite a curriculum this past week learning about, oh God, we have to talk about Mr. Uslan.
What do you say, oh God? Michael Uslan is the coolest man to ever live. You ever look at a man's life and go, I want it? That's Michael Uslan to me. I want his life. He was a college professor who taught comic books for a living, and then he decided he would become the man who makes a Batman movie at all costs.
So, yeah, as Troy said, he started out pitching a comic book theory class, a class that actually took comic books seriously and got into the myths and archetypes.
We have a friend who also subscribes to this bullshit of like superheroes are like modern Greek gods, which is absolute horseshit, but at least it gave us Batman movie.
Anyway, so yeah, he has this class. I read a story also that the news came in because he pretended to be an anonymous caller complaining about the class to the TV news station so that a TV news crew can come in and film the class. And then it became viral in the 1970s because they're like, by God, who is this loser teaching this comic book class?
How does this man have a degree?
Yeah, well, and then from that, people in the industry started coming in. You had, I think Denny O'Neil was a frequent guest of the class. Stan Lee was like, hey, good job, man.
Yeah, Stan Lee, I think, was one who really raised his profile. But Denny O'Neil, for those not in the know, was the guy who basically saved Batman with Neil Adams in the early 70s.
At this same time in the 70s.
Yeah.
So he uses his clout. He gets a couple jobs writing for comic books. But then he has another plan up his sleeve.
Drugs.
He vows by candlelight on the side of his bed over the souls of his dead parents that he will make the first dark, serious Batman movie. None of this pow, zap, and wham shit. And he was like, I'm going to make it dark. It's going to feel like Detective Comics number 27 come to life. It's going to be fucking cool.
This is arguably goofier than the Adam West one.
Well,
but Jan, it's dark. Everything is black. It takes place at night.
But it's a very silly movie.
It is very silly.
But it makes it all the creepier, in my opinion.
We have to get to the movie, but on this rewatch, shut up, David Lynch. This movie actually does feel dream logic to me.
Yes, I have more to say on this.
Oh, God.
But we got to get through more production stuff. So at one point, he teams up with a guy named Benjamin Melniker.
Melniker?
Yeah, Benjamin Melniker. Whatever, his name is hard to pronounce. So he teams up with this guy. They buy up the Batman film rights somehow.
They were like $7 at the time.
They exchanged them for an iPod Nano.
Yes, and it's now kicking Warner Brothers in the ass because they now own the Batman rights for the rest of their lives. And Benjamin Melniker lived to be like over 100 years old. Anyway, so they team up and they're like, okay, we got the film rights to Batman. This should be an easy sell. No studio wants it. They're finally able to get some traction by meeting up with Peter Gruber at Casablanca Records, who is able to get it into the front door of then head of Warner Brothers, Frank Wells, who would later go on to help Michael Eisner at Disney. All around reasonable man, because he was like, maybe we should distribute this movie because we own DC Comics. And we also distributed Superman, which is one of the biggest movies of the 70s.
It's so funny to me that both Superman and Batman only got big budget movies because two separate duos of crazy random people outside of Hollywood were like, you know what would make money? A Superman or a Batman movie.
Well, but this was just nerd shit, no? Like, it wasn't like a big thing back then.
Well, after the Adam West show, it had basically died. But then when Superman the movie came out, and everyone always loved Superman, not like today, but back then everyone loved Superman. But after Superman was a hit.
But the funniest thing that they learned from Superman was, let's make a movie about Santa Claus afterward. They're like, let's focus on traditional childhood heroes and not like seeing the big picture of maybe these comic book things it could be moneymakers.
Well, and the funny thing was, Michael Uslan has claimed that his original version of the project was going to be called The Return of Batman and was The Dark Knight Returns like 7 years before it. Like, that's his claim, was before Superman the movie, he was going to do that.
So as we mentioned before, they approached Guy Hamilton.
And Richard Maibaum.
Oh.
Guy Hamilton was fresh off of being fired from Superman for being a tax exile. So now they're like, do you want to do Batman and get Richard Maibaum? 2 James Bond guys with Batman. It could be a hit. And they were like, no thanks.
But what was preventing him from doing Superman but not Batman?
Well, Superman he liked.
I want to think it was because they were going to shoot it in London, but they didn't end up shooting in London until 10 years later.
That's true.
But that would have been really funny to think about. When they couldn't get them, they turned to another James Bond alum, a name that we all know and love. I'm sure that our listeners love this name because we get to bring back this bit. They turned to a man they didn't fully understand. Mank.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
My God.
Tom Mankiewicz did work on the script.
Yeah, Tom Mankiewicz wrote a script. It is viewable online. I read a few pages of it years ago, but basically that one had Batman, Robin, the Penguin, who is a slim gentleman. They also had Rupert Thorne.
Penguin the Slim Gentleman is like the best rapper name I've ever heard.
Slim Gentleman. I'm the real Slim Gentleman. Yes, I am. No, this might be a good point to bring out that, again, Michael Uslan and Benjamin Melniker were drawing on the 1970s retool of Batman, where Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams were like, Batman's bright and campy. Let's make him dark again. And the Joker's funny. What if he killed people instead? So that was the era of the comics the scripts were drawing from at this time. One other interesting thing, if we're at the 1982 phase of the development of this movie, for some reason, when Michael Uslan got the rights to Batman, he somehow also got the rights to Swamp Thing, I believe.
Somewhere in between him and Mellinger get Swamp Thing. I don't really know how that
for some reason
worked.
they got Swamp Thing. And so he helped make the 1982 Swamp Thing movie with Wes Craven directing it. And he asked Wes Craven, "Do you want to direct Batman?" And Wes Craven was like, "No, no." And this was around the time they were going to make the movie with an unknown as Batman, but they were going to try to get William Holden as Commissioner Gordon and another Bond alum, David Niven, as Alfred Pennyworth.
Which I know this quote that you're talking about. I think this is just Tom Mankiewicz's
Drunken
weird dream fantasy.
Yes, because they were both dead.
Yeah, no, William Holden died in what, 81 or something?
81.
Yeah, and David
Everyone's
Niven
dead.
died in like 83, like right when the script was being made. And at that point, he was so weak that even when he appeared in Trail of the Pink Panther, Rich Little had to dub his voice because they couldn't pick it up on the
Is that
microphone.
why they fired him? Because he was like, I want David Niven as Alfred and Greta Garbo as Catwoman.
And they're like, he's dead. And then he kept like playing them Casino Royale, like in The Aviator. He's just locked into a room peeing and playing Casino Royale. He's like, William Holden, David Niven, Batman.
Batman will be played by Peter Sellers.
Yeah, and a Hitler outfit.
Perfect for a Frank Miller take of Batman.
But yeah, speaking of Frank Miller, and Paul was talking about this earlier.
What happens when an insane racist who is also like a great artist decides to do a Batman comic book?
Hey, he also was mugged at gunpoint on like 2 non-consecutive occasions.
Wow.
Okay. Wait, did you just call Frank Miller a great artist, Jan? Have you seen his drawings?
Well, I don't think that's Frank Miller. I think that's an imposter.
Oh, okay.
All right, look, Paul may be implying that Frank Miller's drawings are bad. What I'm implying is that he's sometimes a good writer.
Okay.
Yes, as seen in The Dark Knight Returns.
Well, I fucking dig the art style of The Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, I do too.
In The Dark Knight Strikes Again, everyone looks like, everyone said this before, like a monkey.
Well, he finally found like clip art. And so like every single background is just like this weird like stripes and shapes and splotches, and you're just like, what the fuck where am I? What's happening?
It looks like Ringo Starr's MS paintings. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, no.
Basically.
This is a real tangent, but the thing about Frank Miller is he's a pivotal comic book artist. Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen both kind of redefine the genre by making it dark.
For better or for worse.
And adult. For better and for worse. For better is Watchmen, and for worse is Dark Knight Returns. But I must say this. The Dark Knight Strikes Again is one of the worst, might be the worst comic book I have ever read. It doesn't make any sense. It's unpleasant to look at.
Oh, it's funny.
In order for it to be funny, I have to understand what the hell it's trying to say.
Because Superman flies into the stratosphere and fucks Wonder Woman.
I can barely tell what's going on in that scene.
No, that's the thing, is that you kind of need a translator. It's like watching Casino Royale 1967, but it's in comic book form.
Without the charm.
Maybe I need to read this and I'll come around on this Miller guy.
No,
Oh,
it's
God.
what you need to read is Batman Year One, which is the good Frank Miller.
Oh, and also we forgot to mention all the other directors.
Oh, wait, yes. Oh, okay. This is confirmed. I got it from multiple sources. Warner Brothers wanted Joel and Ethan Coen to direct this movie.
Oh
What
my
the
God.
hell?
Yes.
Oh, I already see it. So circular narrative. Bruce Wayne is no longer a billionaire. He's a folk singer down on his luck.
No, he used to have money, but now he's a folk singer down on his luck.
Right,
Because he
yes.
taken over his parents' devs. The Joker is like a weird hitman.
Played by Emmett Walsh.
And he like monologues to himself.
Yes.
And he has the cackle.
That would have been interesting. I'm presuming this is post Raising Arizona.
No, it's around the same time of Raising Arizona. It's after
Wow.
Blood Simple and during production on Raising.
They wouldn't have gotten Prince to do the soundtrack. They would have gotten Bob Dylan. And
Yes.
Yeah.
And Bob Dylan would have played the Joker because he would have been in his white face from Rolling Thunder Review.
Oh, that would have been so good. But
Oh,
they
boy.
didn't do it They didn't do it because they didn't come up with the idea of Batman.
Hey, Batman, you can't define me, man. I used to be a gangster, but now I'm a clown because you can't define me, man.
I go through different eras, man.
This town needs an enema.
This town needs an animal.
Have you ever
Batman.
danced with God in the pale moonlight? I'm a Christian now, Batman.
Now I think of it, Bob Dylan would be a perfect. He kind of is a real life Joker.
Well, kind of. Yeah, no.
I'm just chaos, man. I just do things. I'm like,
Bob Dylan's like, what if the Joker sucked and was mean to Joan Baez?
What if the Joker was Baptist for 3 years?
yeah. Joan is literally Harley Quinn. It's perfect. You want me to do society? I'm not gonna do society, man. You want me to be Jewish? I'm gonna be an evangelical Christian, man.
Well, Bob Dylan is someone to keep in mind for this podcast because Bob Dylan is the only man to be played by both Batman and the Joker at the same time in the same
Holy
movie.
shit, you're right. I never made that connection. It all comes back to Bob.
Bob Dylan is the real Joker.
Okay, he's still alive. He's still rocking. Bob Dylan for the Joker. I am putting it down.
In Batman the Brave and the Bold, you hear me, James Gunn. Make Bob Dylan the official DC Universe Joker.
We're starting this. We're making this.
I mean, he also could have played Bob the Goon.
Well, Bob the Goon, we'll get to Bob the Goon. He's kind of a goof.
He is the MVP of this movie, but we'll get to him.
Other directors that were considered include David Cronenberg and Joe Dante, that I know off the top of my head.
Don't forget Ivan Reitman.
Oh, that's when it was going to be Bill Murray as Batman and
Yes.
Eddie Murphy as Robin, and Michael Uslan like came in with a gun.
He went full Scorsese. He was like, I'm going to kill myself.
I will kill
No
you. and
humor.
Yeah.
No humor. Dark.
Is this like one of the most like the stars aligned where like this young up and coming like 30-year-old virgin nerd like came onto the directing scene and it was like this guy is perfect for this type of Batman that we're doing.
He was at the peak of his powers also because he started out at Disney. We're talking about Tim Burton, by the way.
It's Tim Burton.
Tim Burton was fired from Disney, but he had a couple shorts.
This is where I ask my question. When does John Peters become the producer of this movie? Before Tim Burton is...
Yes, because he was tight with Peter Gruber. Because they were
Okay,
partners.
that's why.
And even at the same time, they were running Sony Pictures together. Or they were
Oh my
running
God.
Columbia.
The 80s were awesome.
And Sony is what broke them up.
Oh.
This movie should just say produced by cocaine.
Well, it's produced by everything in the 80s. You got cocaine, John Peters,
Amphetamines.
Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Tim Burton's brought on. He's having a nightmare because he hates directing blockbusters and superhero movies, but he's like, I'll do it.
But it was like the natural progression because he starts out doing Pee-wee's Big Adventure, which is a small movie. Then he gets this other movie that is been developing for a number of years, but they're like, okay, this is mid-budget. This is bigger than Pee-wee. Here you go, Beetlejuice. And then they wait for that to be a hit. And then they're like, all right, you're set for Batman, which is on track to be big.
You know how you know Tim Burton's heart wasn't in this movie? Is because his horror references he cast Michael Gough as Alfred and not Vincent Price.
Yes.
Can you imagine Vincent Price as Alfred?
That is a good point, but don't you besmirch my guff.
Thanks to Michael Gough, no live-action Alfred has a mustache. A beautiful tradition. 40 years of tradition. Tossed aside.
Yes, Tim, he worked his magic. I mean, he was not name brand Tim Burton at this point, but I think they were very committed to this aesthetic for this movie. They wanted the tone, and they wanted somebody that they felt like they could trust. It was a different time.
Yeah.
It's a time where they wanted a reliable filmmaker was more important than the property itself, because the property was sort of unproven.
And also, a reliable filmmaker back then used to be like a 28-year-old like nerd, you know, that had proven that he had a strong vision.
And it was like grade school because each time he leveled up, and it's like, okay, now here's your chance. Here are the keys. You get to drive the big boy
Believe
car.
it or not, studios used to care about directors
Insane.
and only put them on projects when they were ready, and gradually would ease them up. If you did a good job on a smaller budget movie, you'd get a mid-budget, then you'd get a high budget.
Yes.
Nowadays, you just do a no-budget movie that nobody ever sees, and then you get Birds of Prey, and then you are never heard from again.
You go to the director that won the Sundance this year of like a documentary about the opioid crisis in Minnesota, and then their second movie that they're slated for is like Blade, or I don't know,
or the Marvels,
or yeah,
something.
Whatever.
I'll say it. John Watts has directed 3 Spider-Man movies, 2 of which have grossed like $1 billion. Has anyone ever seen Cop Car or whatever?
No.
No.
Well, but going back to Tim Burton, who
Yes.
this man, I don't know if you guys know, but I like him.
Do you now?
I quite like him. He is
From your shrine of Tim Burton in your room, I could never tell.
I have one of those, just like Doug Walker.
Just really liked your work, that's all. Maybe I did a few fan drawings every once in a while.
We're very similar to Doug in that way.
Doug loves this movie. He loves this
Yeah,
movie.
Tim Burton was on God mode during the 80s and 90s. I'm one of those that still says that he has the juice during the 2000s, and then the 2010s is like, oh God Christ, but we don't talk about
Yeah,
that.
he loses the juice progressively, but like,
yeah.
Wait, whoa. But his best movie is Sweeney Todd, which came out in 2007.
Incorrect, but I like that movie a lot.
I love Sweeney Todd. It's not my top pick, but it's up there. But like I said, he still had a little juice.
The juice is loose.
No, I'm one of those weirdos who is like, Tim Burton makes the same movie every time, one trick pony, doesn't know what he's doing. But then I'll also be like, Big Eyes, masterpiece.
A horrible movie.
Like, that's my thing where I'm
Horrendous.
like, I don't have a shrine to Tim Burton, but then I like look at every movie he's ever made. I haven't seen Dumbo, but every other movie, I'm just like, this is one of the greatest movies ever made.
No, I mean, Big Eyes aside, he to me.
Wait, you look me in the eye and you tell me Miss Peregrine's Home for
Miss
wacko
Peregrine's
children.
Home is 1,000 times better
No,
than Big Eyes.
it's not. Incorrect. It doesn't make any sense.
I haven't even seen Miss Peregrine. I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's not good.
But anyway, let's go back to the 1989 film Joker.
Another important production note, Tim Burton had a lot of leeway in making this movie because Sam Hamm wrote the final screenplay for this, but there was a writer's strike in 1988 to 1989, so he couldn't do any rewrites. So Tim Burton and John Peters were on their own.
Hey, you're forgetting Warren Scarron, who also wrote the script. Sam Hamm is credited with solo story credit, and he worked with Tim Burton first, but then they brought in Warren Scarron to rewrite it. And according to Robert Wool in the behind-the-scenes documentary, the first 2/3 of the movie are basically Sam Hamm's script. And then the third act is where I think Warren Scarron did a pass on dialogue. And they also said they're like, he was really into the psychology of the characters. He was really into the psychology, which really means this whole movie feels like a fucking dream and nothing makes sense.
Yeah, it's not psychological like at all.
It's very psychological. But I do want to bring this up because maybe we should talk about this now. One thing that was interesting about the script, especially because they were trying to do darker Batman, is what do you do with Robin? Because at the time, no one could conceive of Batman without Robin. Batman always has a Robin. Even The Dark Knight Returns, he has a Robin.
Are we getting into the deleted scene?
The actual ending for the movie?
Where he has gay sex.
No. So in the original draft, which was storyboarded and animated with Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill as a bonus feature on one of the releases, Joker was going to be running from Batman at the end of the movie, and he was going to drive by a circus, and he was going to throw a bomb out the window and blow up 2 acrobats. And then their son was going to be like, what the hell? And then he was going to join Batman for the climax. And it was Robin.
Well, until Batman apprehends him and tells him, no, don't do it. No, this was actually supposed to be in the middle of the movie because this is where Joker reveals that he's actually Jack Napier.
Okay.
Because at this point, Batman doesn't know that Jack Napier is Joker. I think it was probably going to be after the scene where Joker throws a pen into a guy's neck.
It's a little clunkily handled, but
Yeah. But anyway, the end result is that John Peters basically came up with the finale, and Jack Nicholson was like screaming.
It's the worst part of the movie.
I kind of love it.
I like it too, but it's kind of where I check out a little
This
bit.
is where that's where it gets very cerebral.
Strange, yeah, just strange.
Cerebral.
But it is funny because Jack Nicholson was screaming at Tim Burton, "Why am I going up these stairs?" And Tim Burton's like, "I don't know. Jack hasn't told me
Just do
yet."
it. I'm generously calling this cerebral. It's pure nonsense.
So look, I mean, I was gonna get to this later, but yes, the film is successful by almost any metric.
Very good movie. We should get out of the way. We like this movie.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I like this movie a lot too.
I do like this movie a lot. Basically, nobody that worked on it and no critic thinks that this is a good script.
Oh yeah, Sam Hamm has disowned it.
Including me.
Danny Elfman has disowned it. Tim Burton has disowned it. Like, Tim Burton, what does he say? He's like, that movie doesn't have a soul.
Well, but Tim Burton hated Batman from the get-go. He's like, I don't read comic books.
Yeah.
I'm not that kind of nerd. He's like,
Yes.
Well, he always said, he's like, I don't understand what order I'm supposed to look at the pictures. I don't understand comics.
Yes. I think he said that, yeah.
Yeah, we got to talk about casting.
Yeah.
And we should start out with not the subject of this podcast. We should start out with
Batman.
yeah,
Jake,
the bad guy.
who was Tim Burton's first choice for Batman? I didn't know this until today. I was shocked.
Danny DeVito.
No. Tim Burton and Warner Brothers got together and they approached Pierce Brosnan to play Batman in this movie. Yeah.
Oh.
That would have been Seek. Yeah.
And Pierce Brosnan was like, I don't play superheroes. And I wonder if he thought about that when he was in his little blue jumpsuit and his little cape.
as he was popping pills.
Yes, he was popping pills on Dr. Fate. That's his Black.
And also when he was like fighting a Power Ranger in Die Another Day.
No, that's James Bond. He takes that seriously. That's
James
like
Bond
religion
is
to Pierce
real.
Okay.
James Bond is for adults. Batman is for babies.
But so we eventually arrived to Mr. Mom.
Yeah, John
Yes.
Peters actually was the one who fought for him. I was surprised to find out.
And Tim Burton, too, because he's just like,
Well, Tim Burton was just like, I worked with him. He was good. Sure.
well, he also says his eyes, because his eyes have so much tragedy. I think he really means his brows are arched like Batman.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think he really means it kind of looks like he's wearing a mask.
Yeah.
yeah, just like the mask is like perfectly tailored to his forehead.
When they cast him, they went full critical drinker on this guy. Like they went
Yes, they
ballistic.
tried to burn Warner Brothers to the ground.
Yeah, no, there were protests in the streets. Everyone was not happy. Michael Uslan walked in and they're like, we're going with Keaton. And his heart sank and he was like, oh my God, I'm going to shoot myself.
No,
he came in with a bomb strapped to his chest. He was ready to blow. Everyone was not happy.
I like the idea that Michael Uslan just has retained power over Batman all these decades by just walking around with a loaded pistol. And every time they make a decision, he pulls it out and either aims it at himself or at the person he's talking to.
Yeah, he comes in prepared
Well,
for
it
those
does
meetings.
seem like a weird situation where Michael Uslan spent his life getting Batman onto the screen and then has to kind of launder the creative decisions of whoever is making the movie. If you think about it, it really makes sense. And like,
Yeah.
Val Kilmer, actually, this is the right move, and so on.
This is the funniest shit, because even at Batman and Robin's like, well, it made sense that the first one was dark, and then
Yeah.
by Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, we're in the 50s Batman. So if you think about it, it makes sense. Like that's his like coping mechanism for explaining.
No, but like if you want to see like what the Reagan Bush years were like and like what Americans cared about, like people weren't no longer protesting Vietnam or anything. They were protesting this. Who's gonna play Batman? It's like
Yes.
The protest got so bad that Warner Brothers is like, I know how to fix this. We're going to hire Bob Kane as a creative consultant.
The man who totally invented Batman.
They hired the one man and they give him the job of creative consultant, and they also give him a cameo in the movie that
Yeah.
he did not show up to.
No.
So they had to recast.
Yes, he has a whole cameo where someone draws a picture of Batman and says Bob Kane, The character is called Bob the Cartoonist, but because Bob Kane didn't want to leave vacation, it's just some guy in a mustache.
And the thing is that he was filmed on set.
Yeah.
He's on the Gotham City set. He's like, I'm so proud that my Batman is now a movie. Isn't it crazy? It's so funny because they talked to Michael Keaton in the behind the scenes features, which was made 15 years after the fact. And they asked him, what did you think about the protests? And he's just like, it was kind of weird.
I didn't get it.
I don't, who gives a shit?
Oh, speaking of Batman protests, you know who was considered to play Robin when he was originally going to be in the script after Eddie Murphy?
Who?
Ben Affleck.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Whoa.
That would have brought us full circle.
He'd been a little boy.
Because we forget Affleck's twink years. Now he's like
Yeah.
dad.
Oh, did I have to tell you that on someone's last day at my job, she didn't know what a twink was? So we had to like walk her.
You showed her a picture of Bill Tanner.
Yeah, we showed her a picture of Bill Tanner, and we're like, this is called twink death. He turned 30.
Yeah.
Did you show like the For Your Eyes Only Bill Tanner?
Like you showed her a picture of young Biden and old Biden, and you're like, this is twink death
Twink
right
death.
here.
He's 30 in this photo. He's not even eligible to be president.
So anyway, yeah, they cast Michael Keaton, but the big guy in the room, our boy, our Joker.
Our Joker.
Our number one.
There was never any doubt that Joker was going to be the villain in this movie. Get the fuck out, Penguin. We don't need you. This is going to be the Joker.
Yeah, because it was going to be Mr. J. He's the guy.
Well, and Killing Joke had also come out. So, and yeah, that whole run in the 70s.
And The Dark Knight Returns. Frank Miller, to his credit, is very much like, it's only the Joker. Like, that's the only one. Batman.
That's the one that matters. It's
Yes.
like everyone else can get old and fuck off and do their own thing, but the Joker just has to be always fucking with Batman.
Literally, if the Joker is not around in Frank Miller's world, Dick Grayson will spontaneously turn into the Joker.
Well, but the
Exactly.
casting of Jack Nicholson is a stroke of genius and insane at the same time, and I'll tell you why.
Well, here's the thing is that they were actually going after Tim Curry at one point.
that would have been perfect.
David Bowie.
That would have been also perfect. But if there was one man for the job, like it could be called like the first time of like fan casting where like producers did the fan casting, so maybe just normal casting.
Well,
but,
no, this
yeah.
is back in Superman 1978 where you're going like Marlon Brando is Jor-El and Gene Hackman is
Yeah,
Lex Luthor.
if the idea is you get some random twink to be the superhero, and then you get an established character actor to be the villain.
Every time I see The Shining, I'm like,
Yeah.
man, Jack Nicholson would be a great Joker. And I'm like, wait, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I always forget because his take on the Joker is completely different from what we thought he would do.
Well, Jack Nicholson, we'll get into this throughout this episode, but the brilliance of Jack Nicholson's take on the Joker is he's like, what if I was Jack Napier?
Yeah.
What if I was Jack
It's just like,
Nicholson?
he is not like threatening or terrifying or deranged.
What?
He's just,
What?
No! Oh my god, I find him to be the absolute like I'm
Oh, he's so
terrified of
scary?
Jack Nicholson's Joker. Yes!
This town needs an enema.
Look, Jan, I'll agree with you.
He's
He's not
terrifying.
the craziest.
Yes!
He does act more like a traditional Joker in Little Shop of Horrors, The Shining, 5 Easy Pieces.
Most of his movies.
Tommy. He does act more like the Joker in those movies, but I still think his take on the Joker is like menacing and scary.
no, don't get
and
me wrong.
violent.
I love
Yeah.
it, but I love it because he just decided to fuck around the entire movie.
Boop. Boop.
Well, and what's more Joker than that?
Exactly. That's why I'm saying this Joker is Alpha, Sigma, and Omega. You know.
But
Because-
Jan, all Jokers are Alpha, Sigma, Omega.
No,
It's the
sorry.
Joker.
The last Cesar Romero was Alpha. We're getting in the Sigma territory. Okay, here we are.
Okay.
I disagree. I was horrified when I was a kid.
The scene where he sees himself in the mirror is genuinely terrifying. I will say that.
What? He has so many great kills.
Yeah, he has so many great. Well, and the thing is that you don't really know what he's going to do from scene to scene.
Yeah,
because,
he is very unpredictable.
yes, metatextually, it's Jack Nicholson kind of fucking around and doing like weird shit. But in the context of the movie, it's just like, I don't know if he's going to shoot Bob the Goon.
Oh no.
And he does for
Like,
no reason.
But the thing, like, the movie's not in the real world. It's in this dumb comic book world, so I don't really care.
Okay, Jan's falling into the fallacy of movies aren't real. This is not the podcast for that garbage, sir. Take your leftist infighting and your little red book back to your new Rainbow Coalition. In this podcast, movies are real. The Joker was real. Batman was real. And they lived in the 80s.
Oh no, I think the Joker is real. Don't get me wrong, the Joker is my guy. I just think, very much like Bob Dylan, the Joker had many faces. This is one of his sillier faces.
Well, like Santa Claus, the Joker has helpers, and Jack Nicholson was one of the better ones.
One of the better helpers.
I agree with the Joker. God, I hate whenever they have 3 of the Joker's helpers in one place and they call it the Golden Globes. I'm like, which one's the real Joker?
You joke about that, but now we have a director who's making Joker movies who he's just like, I don't think this is the real Joker.
And the Golden Globes don't have Jokers anymore. They have Joe Coy.
Oh! That was a good one, Joke.
Bam!
Joke is back.
I see why they call him Joke.
Guys, I'm Batman. I don't get it. But all right, so back to the casting of this movie. So Jack Nicholson was always the top choice because he was Jack Nicholson in the 80s. He was everyone's top choice for everything. But he was debating it. So they gave the role. Well, first they had John Lithgow read for it, and he intentionally gave the worst, according to him, the worst audition he ever did, because he did not want to play the Joker.
Yeah, I'm not really I mean, he would have been fine, but I'm not feeling
He would be a fine Joker.
I mean, have you seen him in Racing Kane? That's a dope Joker right there.
Well, have you seen him in Dexter?
That's a dope Joker right there.
Shut up, cunt.
Yeah, true.
Have you seen him in All That Jazz?
That's a dope Joker right there.
Yeah,
That's
when
a dope
he's like,
Joker.
I'm going to direct that show. Ooh.
I think he would be a better Riddler than a Joker.
No, that's Third Rock from the Sun, John Lithgow.
Yes, but so Robin Williams, in order to bait Jack Nicholson into taking the part, they gave the part to Robin Williams. And then Jack Nicholson was like, actually, I'll do it. And they were like, go to hell, Robin Williams. And Robin Williams was so mad that not only did he turn down the Riddler in Batman Forever, he refused to work for Warner Brothers for at least 5 years.
Whoa.
He would have been good.
Hey, yeah, he was a good actor.
I'll say it. Robin Williams would have been too friendly a Joker. Even when he was killing me, I'd be like, oh, he feels bad about it.
I mean, 1 Hour Photo is a pretty terrifying performance, I'll say that. He could do it.
When Robin Williams is a clown, he's like a doctor. Like when I see Robin Williams as the Joker,
It's gonna be
I would
Patch Adams.
see
Yeah.
a Patch Adams Joker. When Jack Nicholson plays the Joker, I go, oh yeah, this guy was friends with Roman Polanski.
Like, so you're saying that, like, when Robin Williams smiled, it would have been heartwarming instead of terrifying.
Robin Williams would have been like, I killed your parents, and that's not my fault, and that's not your fault.
It's not
We're
your
going
fault.
to get through this together.
It's time to cool our politics, sit down and listen to each other, Batman.
Yes. Well, Jack Nicholson is just like, oh yeah, I killed your parents.
Look at me with silly glasses.
You wouldn't hit a guy with glasses.
You wouldn't hit a guy with glasses on, would you?
I'm gonna take Vicky Vale to a tower for no reason. Just why not?
It's so terrifying. Why does he do anything?
Eye of the mind makes a Mookie. What does that mean?
We're doing our classic Joker's trick where we skip to the end of the movie without talking about the whole movie.
Well, look, this should be a little easier to talk about because there's literally no cause and effect in this movie.
No, that means we have to break everything down because there are 3 scenes in this movie where I have the note, why did that person walk 10 feet in that direction?
Yeah.
I am anxious to see what scenes those
it's
are.
so, I mean, here's where Tim Burton's strength as a director comes in, is that you can tell so many times, like, this guy is not equipped to direct a movie of this scale in that sense of just, like, blocking and keeping track everything in your head.
And everything on script.
But he makes it up with his artistic flair, which is the heart of this fucking movie.
Yes, I 100% agree with that.
Before we get into the movie itself, I do have behind the scene goss about stuff on set.
Sure.
So Jack Palance, who plays Grissom in the movie, hated Tim Burton, and at one point screamed at him, "I've made over 100 movies, kid! How many have you made?" And so he got very fed up with him. Jack Nicholson hated Kim Basinger. Okay, now this is very funny to me. So Michael Keaton was into Kim Basinger, but she was married to her husband, who she left for John Peters.
Whoa, she was married to her husband?
Huh?
Nothing. Just
Okay. Michael Keaton was upset that Kim Basinger had gone with John Peters. And Jack Nicholson was like, "If you stopped screwing the producer and showed up on time, we could make this movie, you.
Oh, can we also talk about like how Sean Young was originally
Oh my God.
supposed to play Vicky Vale? She fell off a horse and then she went on the most pathetic career decisions anyone's ever made.
Aw, poor Sean Young.
I feel bad for her, but it's so cringe. I cannot hear that
It's
story
very
without.
funny, though.
I like
It's
how Jan
hilarious.
says that it's so cringe, like he didn't show up in a Catwoman outfit to try to get on this podcast.
Well, I did do that with Tim Burton, but it turned out that wasn't Tim Burton. That was just a homeless guy.
Okay, so the film starts with a shapes, and you're like, what the hell is this? And there are names, and who's billed first?
Jack Nicholson.
Our boy Joker, because it's a Joker movie.
This is the
This
Joker
is a
movie.
Joker movie through and through. It is announcing itself. We're gonna say this a lot through our recapping of the movie, but this is true and blue a Joker movie. And
Yes.
right up to that first moment.
Fans of this podcast, please track if you've seen the movie. It is my belief that the Joker in this movie has the exact same arc as Tobey Maguire in the first Spider-Man movie. He is the guy with the arc in this movie, so keep your eyes peeled.
From a
Yes.
certain point of view, yes. In a cosmic sort of way, yes.
We have to say that this opening credit scene absolutely fucks my dick and asshole and balls. It is
Yes.
the best thing ever. And you're just like, everything, just the design, the camera movements, the music. Oh my God.
Yeah,
You're seeing this like whole thing. You're tracking through like these deep canyons that are covered
It starts
in gravel.
slow,
and-
and then
guys,
incredible.
I know we love the James Bond theme song, but I honestly think Danny Elfman, like his Batman theme, is like the voice of God.
The Danny Elfman Batman theme, other than na 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 Batman, is like the definitive Batman
Yes,
theme.
he beat the Beatles.
Yeah,
He beat the Beatles, which
I will say it. Oingo Boingo, best band of the 80s. Talking Heads, The Cure, Suck My Dick. Oingo Boingo was the best one.
Whoa.
I will also say that despite our love for Oingo Boingo and the music of Danny Elfman, we do not endorse the actual man, Danny Elfman.
Apparently he's a bad guy, but his music is very good.
but goddamn, like, because his first couple movies, okay, so he started out with Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Which is kind of like a Nino Rota riff, which is very fun.
Yeah, and he also works on Beetlejuice, but he also does Midnight Run at the same time.
Yeah.
Good movie.
And then this is like his big break where it's just like, okay, you got to do the score to this big movie, and also Prince is doing songs
Yes.
for it for some reason because John
That's
Peters
so
felt
funny
like
to
it.
me that this movie was like a Cold War between, like, I think Danny Elfman and Prince to see who could get more of their music in the movie.
The two greatest musicians of the 80s.
Yes.
And shockingly, considering how I mean, I guess we can get to this a little bit later, but considering how major those two guys are, this movie is not wall-to-wall music.
No, it isn't.
No, which is one of its greatest strengths. It's
So Danny Elfman tries. Like, I bet you could do a Danny Elfman score. I don't know. I guess I'll bring this up now. One of my Twitter mutuals did a re-edit of this movie as like a silent film, like a 1920 silent film. And I think he was able to use Danny Elfman's score for the whole thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, that sounds cool. But that makes the music pop even more when it shows up. Like that driving scene in the forest. Oof, maron.
When he comes in through the window.
Maron.
All right. So fun fact, the conductor of the orchestra that recorded Danny Elfman's score was Shirley Walker, who would then become the
Oh.
composer for Batman the Animated Series.
That's awesome. She is also a great composer.
Yes.
Because Massive Phantasm, we'll get to that, but the music fucks there too. Also, I don't want to go full Fantano here, but Is it anyone else's interpretation that the whole song is like Batman, but then the ending is just like the creeping of Mr. Jokes, you know, when it's like dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
I guess you could make the argument.
I don't know, because it all sounds ominous.
Well, it's ominous, and then there's adventure, and then ominous, and then back to adventure is what I thought.
But that end, like the dun, 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 it sounds like something's coming, something crazy's a coming. Is the
I
Joker.
do agree with Jan that it suggests chaos, but the thing is, most of Batman's villains are like whimsical chaos.
Well, yeah, I don't think Danny Elfman knew anything about Batman. I think it was just like, this is for the bad guy.
Right.
Speaking of knowing nothing about Batman, this first scene, whenever I watch the first scene of this movie, it messes with my head. Like, this first scene always like gets me because you're in 1989, 1939 at the same time. Everyone's playing 80s music, but it's the 30s.
And we get our first glimpse of Prince because the song playing in the background on the boombox is the track The Future by Prince.
Yeah.
Future.
I fucking love the sort of like anachronistic nature of Gotham here. Like,
my mom got so mad like seeing a clip from this because she's like, when does it take place? Because it all looks like the 30s, but Kim Basinger's hair, she has an 80s haircut. I'm like, it takes place in the 80s and the 30s. She's like, why does that make no sense?
Yeah, but it also takes place in spooky nightmare German expressionist world.
Oh, no. Then my mom was then like, they shot this in Chicago, right? And I'm like, no, they shot this on a set. And she's like, they shot one of the Batmans in Chicago, and I bet it's this one. And I'm like, no,
not
this
even
was
close.
designed by Anton Furst.
Looks just like Chicago.
Yeah, exactly. When I'm seeing like a pipe, like a Dr. Seuss pipe go into a big building, yeah, that's
the Sears Tower.
It's Chicago when you go to sleep. Yeah. It's Chicago made by, if you tell an AI to do a movie in Chicago, I guess.
If you wear the They Live glasses in Chicago.
That's what it looks like.
So yeah, Troy, as you're saying, this opening scene throws you off by design.
Yes, by design, because you think you're seeing young Bruce Wayne and his parents if you know the lore, which most audiences of the time may not know it at.
But also the movie's just assuming that you know that Bruce Wayne is Batman.
No, it's not, because it's a twist.
It is a twist.
It is a twist that Bruce Wayne is Batman?
No, not that Bruce Wayne is Batman, but why he's Batman.
Oh, well, I don't know if I ever saw it, but maybe that's just because I know the story.
Well, that's the thing. It's hard for us to imagine in the year of our Lord 2020, in the year of our Joker 2024. But there was a time when most people only knew the Adam West show. And while the Adam West show mentioned his parents getting killed in the first episode, they never showed it. The only time that an adaptation of Batman had actually shown the Waynes being killed was the episode The Fear of the last season of the Super Friends cartoon in 1985, where Adam West got to play Batman in.
Yeah, and nobody watched that. And he was under the influence of fear toxin by the Scarecrow.
Yes, and that episode was written by Alan Burnett, who would become the story editor on Batman the Animated Series. And the producer of that episode, you guessed it, Michael Uslan.
Oh my God.
I don't know if that's true or not, but I wouldn't be surprised.
That's very specific about the Batman rights. They only own film rights to Batman, live action animation, and animated TV.
And Michael Uslan, it should be pointed out, also owns the rights to his gun.
And his brain.
Which he will use if you put anything funny in a Batman movie.
That's not the Joker.
So this family is like touristing around, they're lost, and they go to an alleyway.
Yeah.
And here is just like, holy shit, just like the atmosphere in this movie is immaculate. Just like shadows, fog's got the noir, got the German expressions, got a bit of punk in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the buildings are so fucking big.
They're so tall.
Yeah.
Thanks to those matte paintings, it looks like insane. Like you're just like, where the hell is this? What am I looking at?
I feel like it's defined so much of like what we think of Batman, which honestly I think comes from like Tim Burton not knowing much about Batman and just being like, oh, this guy dressed up like Dracula. I should do it like a spooky old horror film.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it Caligari.
Yeah.
But Anton First, who did the production design, it's like this whole overgrown metropolis thing, which
Yeah.
was so popular in the 80s. Because watching this movie, I was reminded that most people in America just saw all major cities as this terrifying hellscape that like you couldn't even walk down the sidewalk without like getting mugged.
Very different from today.
Well, in this, it's like you couldn't even walk down the sidewalk without a hooker hitting on your 12-year-old son.
No, as I was saying earlier, this is like almost like a quintessentially Reagan movie, even though it takes place in a dream world, because it is kind of like, I mean, yeah, the art museum, it's like the defacing of these like cultural icons with corporate pop culture, which I think is one of the more brilliant, secretly brilliant aspects of this movie.
Oh my god.
The most Reagan aspect of the movie is that Alexander Knox is like, Bruce Wayne, he's just a rich weirdo. And Vicky Vale goes, those are the best of us. I'm going to date him after one awkward conversation.
Well, it's like this recluse billionaire. He's a cool guy because he won't even tell you who he is. He doesn't even show up to his press conference, but there's a name tag for him. He's so cool.
Yeah, Batman's first entrance is the coolest shit
Oh,
ever.
the animation?
Yeah, he's a cartoon.
He's a cartoon.
He's got little devil horns.
Oh yes.
It's so weird because you're just like, okay, so we should also say, yeah, the family gets mugged, but plot twist, they don't get shot. This is not Bruce Wayne. But
Yeah.
Batman is watching, which you can't really tell because it is this weird matte painting shot with a figure looking down.
Yeah.
And you plot twist, that is not a real person, that is a cartoon.
Which you can tell because of how it shakes its feminine hips.
But
Yeah.
to be fair, this is the beginnings of Batman. They don't know if he's like some sort of like spooky ghost monster or a real person yet.
Which I like.
Which gives him presence.
I do think this movie contributes to a lot of the misperception of Batman in the culture. Because a lot of people will be like, Batman beats up poor people. Most versions of Batman do not beat up poor people. They beat up supervillains who are small business employers who have employees of like 15 people.
That is true, yeah.
Except this Batman, who does not save the family from being robbed. He waits for them to go to a roof, talk about him for a little bit, then he just puts them in the hospital. He doesn't even like wait for the cop.
Yeah.
He just beats the crap out of them.
He's spooky.
But it's such a cool scene.
It is cool.
He's reenacting his trauma from his childhood because
he's all messed up. But it's not about Batman, it's about the Joker. But we're getting there.
they even fit in some American Express product placement in there.
Don't leave home without it.
You could be saying it's its own form of American expressionism, since given the style that we're working with.
Me likey.
You know, Jen, you're onto something.
I'm getting Joker Galaxy, bro.
You're right. This is art.
This is art.
All right, some fun facts about this scene. One, Michael Keaton realized the mask looked bad when he turned his head, so he came up with the idea to never turn his head.
And keep him in the shadows, because it looks like shit.
A tradition unbroken until The Dark Knight.
Yes.
That Batman can't turn his head in costume.
Well, and if you also look in these small scenes, like if he's looking down at Vicky Vale, you'll notice that the mask is bolted into his torso. So even if he moves his head down, the nose kind of pops out of the nose.
Yeah.
And it looks like fucked up.
There is one incredible scene that I always crack up at, which is when he's in the Batcave with Vicky Vale, and she's like trying to see his face, and he like turns away, but because he can't just turn his neck away, he moves his entire fucking body away from her, which just looks like Batman is afraid of girls.
What I love about the Michael Keaton Batman performance is because he has to do that, he looks like a mascot at a theme park, like a character at a theme park, where he has to like overact to everything, and it's great.
He's like a Muppet.
He looks like concept art. It's basically the design of the costume is there purely for small bursts with the correct lighting, so you just get the shape of like these like weird angles and triangles, and he's built up of mostly of that. Because then if you see it in like actual light and you notice that he's not moving, it looks really stupid.
Tim Burton is definitely an illustrator and not an action director, but yes, you can see like there's very particular shots that are lined up. I'll say yes, obviously the drawbacks which they try to change in other Batman films, and even Adam West is not so confined.
Oh, Adam West is free.
Yes, this is the most movement challenged Batman. he is an action figure
For sure. But when he's in the shadows and standing still, he looks sick.
Yes, when it's still, it looks sick. And I will say it's this kind of, for me at least, is the same thing with this Batmobile, which looks great when it's not moving.
Hey, no. Boo, Paul. Bad take.
Well, I want to talk about the Batmobile. I love that Batmobile more than life itself.
Well, you don't like that it has like a little nipple at the front?
Again, it looks great as soon as but then it starts moving, and like it needs a grappling hook to turn a corner.
Yeah, it's the fucking Batmobile.
No, Adam West had a car. He could fucking drift in that.
Yeah,
you know?
but this thing is it is like the slickest car that's ever made. And I also realized this the other day. I told this to Paul. I weirdly was looking at the Batmobile. I'm like, it kind of looks like the top part of Goofy's head if he was in a Darth Vader mask.
Yes.
No, I see it. Yeah.
Darth Goofy.
Only the Goofy could beat the Joker.
Paul doesn't know about anything about cars. He was criticizing my Cybertruck the other day anyways.
Anyways, Jan, that took out 5 people.
Who's laughing now?
Yeah, the Batmobile is based and lit and super functional. Anyway, here's my Cybertruck.
Wait. Okay, here's my thing about the costume. It's kind of interesting that we take for granted this Batman design, when I feel if you did a superhero design like this today, like multiple comic book fans would commit seppuku.
Everything about this movie, they would not. No, nothing about this would be acceptable today because everything about like what this movie represented at the time is like there's a vision, it's dark, it's adult. It's not silly. All of that has been far surpassed. That doesn't mean it's better, right?
Yeah.
But like the edge factor we've gone far past. So like you're not going to find that by going back, right?
Instead of Prince, we'll have Nevermind by Nirvana.
Yes.
Oh, one other thing about this scene is that Michael Keaton improvised the line, "I'm Batman." It was supposed to be "I'm the Knight," but Michael Keaton just liked saying, "I'm Batman."
He's not the Knight. He's Batman. What are you talking about?
He's Batman. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, and that's even in the graphic novel adaptation. It's taken from the script, and it's like, tell your friends, I am the Knight. It's like, no, fuck that shit. He's Batman. And even I was watching compilations of people who just watched the trailer to the movie, and they were coming out and being interviewed, and they were just like, what was your favorite part about the trailer? Which also, we should get to the trailer, but they say like my favorite part was where Michael Keaton said, "I'm Batman."
And what was your favorite part of the whole trailer?
When Michael Keaton comes in and says, "I'm Batman. I'm Batman."
And that line delivery of him saying, "I'm Batman," is the reason why everybody says, I'm Batman.
It still gets me rock hard. I mean, the way it's delivered, the way it's edited.
It's so confident of just, what are you? I'm Batman.
What are you? I'm Batman.
I love to say I'm Batman alone in my basement, dressed up as Batman with my feet up. Thank God no footage of that exists.
Oh yeah, thank God.
Yeah. That would be so
that
embarrassing.
Would be embarrassing.
That would suck. Anyway, you get shot in the chest again in this scene. Keep track of that, folks. He'll get shot in the chest.
Oh yeah, that's the thing, is that he gets
He takes some hits.
That always weirded me out as a child. Like the first time you see him, he's like, he has the wings and he's just like, he comes down and he gets shot and he falls down and he's dead.
Yeah.
And movie's over.
Movie's over. Oh, no, never mind. He's up and he kicks a guy through a door.
That's how he gets you. But one thing we see right off the bat in this opening sequence as well. One thing that
off the bat? This is a Joker podcast, by the way. We will not have this bat buffoonery here.
I know. We're getting there, audience. I know it's painful. We're getting to Mr. J.
I just like how the rest of us love talking about Batman, and every minute we don't talk about the Joker is violence to Paul.
Silence is violence.
He has a Joker gun. I can't tell if it's a real gun or if it's going to have a little flag in it.
It's a very long gun that he can just press down and it goes bang, but it also can take out the Batwing.
You can do anything you want. But one thing Tim clearly did not have a problem with coming off of Adam West, plenty of canted angles throughout this
Oh,
film.
yeah, they're back, baby.
They're all over the place.
Beautiful.
Anywho, so basically the second that we start having multiple scenes, the order becomes a jumble, but Billy D. Williams is in this movie.
He got elected as Harvey Dent. He's Two-Face.
He's going to be Two-Face, right?
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
Warner Brothers?
Blind, stupid, simple, doodah, clueless.
Ironically, in true Joker tradition, though, even though if he was to play Two-Face, instead of putting paint over his mustache, he put hydrochloric acid over his whole half of his face.
Oh.
Take that, Cesar Romero.
Yeah, you jerk.
Damn. But I was making, not really a joke, but an observation that yes, Harvey Dent and
the mayor.
And honestly, the mayor. I mean, a lot of these people they're basically glorified cameos.
Yeah,
they're like, things aren't great in Gotham. We want to have a parade at some point.
Oh, well, a huge subplot of the movie is we need to get this parade up and running, but everyone's scared.
I want a parade.
The festival opens.
We are going to have a festival if I have to get a shotgun and get people there myself.
Gotham needs to have a festival. They have fundraisers for the festival. They have news conferences about the festival. We never see the festival because the Joker just does his own parade. And I have to imagine at one point that was going to be the festival parade and he was going to hijack it. But then somewhere in the rewrite.
That's the thing with this movie. Everything that's set up is almost never paid off. There's no continuity to anything. It's like things just happen.
They even recast Harvey Dent in the sequel.
What?
Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones.
What the hell?
Yeah, and Billy D. Williams made so much money off getting recast.
They recast Harvey Dent. You're telling me just now, I just heard. Billy D. Williams was a great person. Great individual.
But don't worry, he'll be back in Lego Batman and also the Batman 89 comics.
There you go. But I clocked it. at 8 minutes. We get
a little late.
Mr. J, but he's not Joker yet. He's just Jack.
Well, here he is, Silvio Berlusconi, his Italian Joker.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's heavily implied that everyone in the mob is Italian, including Carl Grissom and Jack Napier.
Yes.
But he's acting he's so Italian coded. He's like, you look nice. And he's like, I didn't ask. Well, you didn't say like that, but
I didn't ask.
Which is a trailer moment for some reason.
Because it's cool.
He's just playing cards by himself. He's like hitting on women. His boss is women.
He's Jack Nicholson.
Here's the main question. How do we feel about the fact that this is one of the few Jokers with a full backstory? We know who he is. We know what his deal is.
Like down to the minute.
Here's the thing. Yes, Joker, you know everything about him. He's Jack Napier. We see his origin story. And then he becomes Joker. However, Jack Napier and Joker are so different characters that it doesn't even matter, because it's almost like Jack Napier has this thing, he falls in the acid, and then he's in the surgery thing, and then when he starts laughing in the surgery thing, it's gone. There's nothing there. It's just Joker now.
I agree with that.
It's almost doesn't matter.
I'm going to counter Jake. Part of why I think the Joker is the hero of this movie is I actually think Jack Napier and the Joker are very similar characters, and he just laughs a little more when he's Joker, and he has like more ideas. Unlike, Spider-Man, Peter Parker is Peter Parker. He's a little nebbish, but then once he gets bit by that spider, he becomes a little more confident. He lets himself be a little bit more himself. He's still the same guy, but he's a little bit more himself. He goes up against a rich millionaire who is a psycho, who is very calm at parties and then screaming randomly and kicking people through walls, named Batman. I mean, the Green Goblin. This exact same dynamic is in the 1989 Batman. The Joker is just this cool guy. He's put upon. He gets a little accident, and he's finally free to be himself and to indulge his childhood love of chemistry, art, and science.
That is true.
And while this millionaire with all these toys that is in bed with the military is like trying to prevent him from getting with the girl next door who he's loved from afar, and he takes photos of her on his science field
He's loved
trip.
from afar. He sees a picture of her that Bob the Goon gives her, and he's like, "Hunga, hunga."
Exactly, just like Peter Parker in Spider-Man.
But Troy, there would be credence to your argument if it was like Jack Napier had a goal and the accident changed the trajectory of his life where he's like, oh, I see the transition from Jack to Joker. Peter Parker is at least like, okay, my uncle died because I was a selfish asshole and now I'm going to fight crime.
He does have a goal. Jack Napier has an uncle figure in his life, Carl Grissom. And because he did not kill him, he fell into a tank of acid. So he learned that uncles need to die. In this case, it is an inversion.
So I think you both make good points, but I'll tell you why I'm leaning more towards Daddy Jake.
Wait, what was that?
Why am I daddy now?
Because Troy is mommy. I don't know.
Okay.
So what I was gonna say is that yes, the comparisons to Peter Parker, if we look at the Joker in this as the hero in this movie, which he is, do have merit.
Yes.
But I will say the crucial difference is that Peter Parker goes from virgin to beta. This Joker goes from Chad to Giga Chad. And the jump from Chad to Giga Chad is much bigger than the jump from virgin to beta, which makes it look like two completely split personalities, Jack Napier and Joker. And that's why I'll give the point.
So what's
to Jake.
interesting about the Joker is when he's Jack Napier, he's a Chad. He can get any woman he wants. But when he becomes the Joker, he chooses to act like an incel despite having a girlfriend, an inspiration to creeps and weirdos on the internet everywhere.
That's right, baby.
And also the reason why he's Joker in the first place is because of that girlfriend, which he decides to burn her face and push her out a window.
12 minutes into the film, we meet possibly the most important character in this entire IP universe, a character named Bob the Goon.
Bob the Goon.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. Bob the Goon.
You are my number one guy.
He got his own action figure. He's Jack Nicholson's friend who he just kind of brought on set.
Yes. Jake associates this actor with this film.
Yes.
Well, every time I see his face, I think of the David Lynch project On the Air.
Oh, yeah.
There's a very funny running gag in that.
Wait. You see someone named Bob with long hair who's a criminal in the David Lynch project you think of is On the Air.
Yeah, because it's this actor.
Yeah, it's that guy. It's Tracy
Walter. Yes.
This was such a time for Bob. You had this movie. You had Twin Peaks. You had What About Bob? America had Bob.
Why hasn't Ray Wise played the Joker?
Because he played Commissioner Gordon in The Killing Joke.
Oh, that sucks.
So we're going to get to him.
Okay. Bob the Goon is in this film. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Part of what is disorienting about this film is that also introduced with the same amount of weight as Batman, Joker, Bob, are Joe Schmo reporter man.
Yes.
His name is Alexander Knox, and you put respect on his beautiful name.
What a dick.
And I like this guy. He's funny.
Such a dork.
Yeah.
I adore him. Again, a hero to incels everywhere. This movie is Incel City. You have Alexander Knox, incel. You have Joker, voluntary
What about Eckhart?
incel. Well, Eckhart is getting laid too often. That's why he had to die.
Oh, okay.
That's why Batman's the bad guy, because he's the only one that gets laid in this movie.
No, the Joker also gets laid.
No, don't say that.
Jen, it's okay. He's not Joker yet. It doesn't count. He's not Joker yet.
He has sex with her after he comes back. All right, so listeners, the Joker is Jack Napier. He is an assistant to Carl Grissom, the head mob boss in Gotham. He's a hitman for him.
Yes.
But he is having an affair with his girlfriend, played by the supermodel Jerry Hall.
No, Joker wouldn't do that. He was just nice to her. He's a gentleman.
Fun fact, while we're on the name Jack Napier. So I know what you're thinking. Wow, they just took Jack Nicholson's name and changed it.
No, Melissa
slightly.
told me the pun this morning. It's like Jack of Napes or something like
No,
that.
Jackanate.
Jackanate, yeah.
But Alan Napier, who played Alfred in the 1960s Batman movie, had just died before this movie went into production. So it's also a tribute to him.
It's a good Joker name.
It is a good Joker name.
And in a scale of an idea to Arthur Fleck, idea being the lowest, Arthur being the highest, I would put it comfortably an 8.
I still think Jack Napier is the best name for the Joker, besides like Joe Kerr. I also would like that option. But to circle back to Jake's earlier point, I'm not a huge fan of the Joker having a defined backstory. I think it works for the story. I use that term loosely. This movie is telling, but in general, I would say that is a knock against this
What
Joker.
compelled them to be like the first huge Batman movie is going to be the Joker story, and Batman will only get in snippets?
There's several reasons. There's one, that Tim Burton didn't like Batman. 2, it's Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
Because you need to write a part for him.
3,
even
the
if
Joker's
it's
awesome.
Very, very loosely connected. And 3, the Joker's awesome. we like seeing Joker.
Sold.
And they wanted, and then 4th, they wanted to make Batman mysterious.
Which is a good impulse.
And Sam Hamm actually said that if we explain Batman, then it kind of defeats the purpose, a sentiment that is kind of crazy because they would make Batman Begins later, and that was fine.
Yeah, and that was better.
Yeah, Paul and I were talking about this last week. He's like, they did it in an hour. They explained Batman, and it was concise and it's great, and everyone loved it. But that was their thinking. But I'm of the mind it was a combination of all those things of why Joker is the star of this movie.
The funniest after effect of making the Joker the main character of this movie is when Alvin the Chipmunks did a parody of this movie called Batmonk. Alvin usually played the main character in the parodies. He was Indiana Jones. He was Luke Skywalker. When they do Batmonk, Alvin loudly yells, "I'm the Joker!" And so Simon has to be Batman because Alvin has to be the Joker because he has to be the main guy.
Okay, well, I'll say one of the most based and relatable things about this Jack Napier guy. How does he end up in that chemical thing with the thing? It's because he's a working grunt like the rest of us.
Yeah.
You know, he got set up by the corporate system. He was betrayed.
Yes.
He is someone who had childhood dreams of being an artist, of being a scientist, of being a chemist. And he had to go support his family like a good Italian boy by becoming a murderer. He was pulled into the mob. He was married to the mob.
Yeah, I always forget when I watch this movie that the Joker's main motivation in this is not really like mob boss or murder or anarchy or anything. Is he wants to be an artist.
Yes, he was a hitman at the beginning of the movie, but afterwards he wants to become an artist. And let me just say this. I think it's hilarious because I know Jack Palance is like 100 years old in this movie as Carl Grissom. But it's so funny to me that his top hitman is like Jack Nicholson, who looks like 75.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Is like they saw Jack Nicholson as the Joker. The Joker in The Shining, and they were like, "Oh, it's only been 9 years. We'll make him the Joker." But in those 9 years, he aged Sean Connery style, like he got old and bloated.
Yeah.
But
so it's like, this is our top killer and our top mob boss interactor, because yes, while Knox and everyone is apparently the police did arrest those people Batman put in the traction, we meet the character who is the first of a very unique pattern. His name is Lieutenant Eckhart, but he's clearly supposed to be Harvey Bullock.
Yes, and he's played by Porkins.
Which is why he crashes his car right into Ace Chemicals the first time we see him.
No, incorrect. That's the second or third time you see him.
Okay.
But live-action Batman movies keep wanting to adapt this police character named Harvey Bullock, but they always make him too corrupt. So they have to rename him. So it's just this weird pattern because they do it again in The Dark Knight. And it always throws me. I'm like, Harvey Bullock? No, I'm Lieutenant Eckhart. And I'm like, what?
You remember back when Force Awakens came out, there was a genuine theory that Snoke was Porkins?
I don't think that was genuine, Jan. I think you were just a freshman in high school.
I don't remember that. That sounds like a Joker's trick to me.
I started this theory, I'll admit.
It gained
Stop
some
gaslighting
traction.
us.
Jan is sitting in the theater with his popcorn like, oh God, it's going to be Porkins.
He hypnotized himself into thinking that it was going to be Porkins, and then he's just alone in the theater.
Everyone said Darth Plagueis. I was 10 steps ahead. I was Joker.
No, he was 10 steps ahead, and then his disappointment when he realized, by God, it's the elderly librarian from the Jedi library.
Jan is like watching The Last Jedi, and Snoke gets like cut in half, and Jan goes, Porkins!
I made Porkins
in a laboratory.
All right, so is Porkins? He's corrupt. So he's working for Jack Palance, yeah.
Yeah, he's the informant on the police. Because in this universe, Commissioner Gordon is just incompetent.
He's like the worst at his job.
Yeah, he's just Pat Hingle being fat.
Yeah, basically, he's just like, I don't know what's going on. And we get the scene between him and Jack Napier, where we get hints at who Jack might actually be, because
he's holding a card that says Joker.
Yes, he does that a lot.
He does do that, but Eckhart calls him crazy, basically. Calls him an A1 nut boy.
You're an A1 nut boy, and Grissom knows it.
And this really pisses off Jack Napier to the point where he pulls a gun on him, but then Bob has a gun too behind him.
That's the best thing I've ever heard, an A1 nut boy.
Yeah, no, that's exactly from the movie. And Jack Nicholson...
I don't know why that didn't register to me. I'm like, that is incredible.
And the only hint that Jack Napier will become Joker, besides him pulling out a Joker card, is him reacting like with an eye twitch at being called an A1 nut boy.
Okay, since his nickname is A1 Nut Boy, you're convincing me that this Joker is not a virgin. I gotta give it to you.
My favorite part about that scene is it's happening like 3 feet from all the policemen in the city. Yeah. Like on this mugging, everyone's there. Alexander Knox is there. And like Jack Napier's gonna shoot a cop in the face and like no one's looking.
Yeah.
It's like just 3 feet in that direction.
Right.
Well, and also, I love in this scene how petty Jack Napier is, where it's just like, I want you to take care of it, and he's just like, me? Like, no, I'm not supposed to do things, I'm supposed to send other people.
I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I don't want to go in that weird chemical factory. What if I fall in and become a Joker?
Yeah.
So again, Carl Grissom, so Harvey Dent, has somehow figured out that if they expose Carl Grissom's connection to Ace Chemical Plant, they will reveal that he's a bad guy, I guess.
Well, that's what Grissom wants Jack to believe, because it's actually a trap so that the police can kill Jack Napier because he's been sleeping with his girlfriend.
Yes, and he might be trying to take him out.
For the record, none of this matters because none of this is brought back up again.
Yes, it does. This is the whole plot of the movie.
Oh, yeah, I know, but I'm saying after a certain point, it doesn't matter. It's just a means to an end.
That's like saying Uncle Ben dropping Peter Parker off at the library and Spider-Man doesn't matter. Yes, it is eventually resolved, but it reverberates.
Was Uncle Ben also an A1 nut boy?
Yes, he was. What do you think he was doing in that car when Sandman shot him?
That's why they shot him.
Get out of this car. I'm not done.
No, I'm the A1 nut boy.
I'm sorry, Peter. I didn't realize your uncle was the A1 nut boy.
Take my hand,
Oh, no.
He just goes through the circle of people, and he's just like with his pants down.
Uncle Ben! I'm his nephew. He's my uncle. He has his pants down. No! I know that, Dick.
Oh, no.
Number one A1.
A1 nut.
Peter, don't tell May.
Okay, so we need to introduce. Well, it's Vicky Vale is in this movie. We get the establishment of plot of we need to figure out who Batman is. A plot thread that goes nowhere.
Yes,
eventually
she figures out who Batman is.
Yeah.
Because Alfred takes her into the cave.
All right, so Vicky Vale is a photojournalist who comes to the Gotham Gazette to work with Alexander Knox. They are working together to figure out who Batman is. And they decide to go to what I find to be the silliest party of all time. A fundraiser for a festival held in Bruce Wayne's house.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody has ever seen Bruce Wayne.
No one ever has seen Bruce Wayne. They don't know what he looks like. And they are going to this fundraiser. And Commissioner Gordon is there with his wife. And Harvey Dent's there. And they're like, Bruce Wayne, what a nut. Who would have this much armor?
What a nutter.
And Bruce Wayne is like, I do. And she's like, whoa. But then suddenly the party gets canceled because every single person in the city needs to be at a chemical plant to get Jack Napier.
Right, including Commissioner Gordon. We also get Alfred showing up because Alfred tells Bruce Wayne that Commissioner Gordon was compelled to leave. Very unexpectedly.
Very unexpectedly, sir.
Like, he's like trying to like lead on Knox and Vicky Vale that like this Bruce Wayne guy is very suspicious. He cares a little too much that Commissioner Gordon has left. He might have to do some bat things later.
My theory is that Alfred is just fucking sick of his boss, and he's just like leading him to his death. Like,
well, no, isn't Alfred's whole like goal in this movie is to get him married so he's not Batman anymore?
Yes.
So he's like, oh, beautiful woman, this guy's a weirdo. Would you like to have sex with him?
Okay, so here's another problem with the movie. Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne, I think is fantastic. I love how he's playing it just like a guy. Yeah, I love him.
Well, he's just like, I'm chill. I don't dress up like a bat. Why would I dress up like a bat?
He's just like, why, how do you know this is from Japan? He's like, because I bought it in Japan.
It's Japanese. How do you know? Because I bought it in Japan.
He's just like a normal dude. He's like, I
I
don't
like how you guys think like his Bruce Wayne is normal when it's pretty much just Jeff Goldblum.
What?
Ah, yes, you like this armor. It's from Japan.
Well, yeah, he's got this kind of like quirky, like nerdy guy thing.
I'm gonna say
I like it.
I don't know about all this, him trying to be down to earth. I'm sorry, I might have to skip again. But when he has the date with Vicky Vale and he's like, "I never been in the dining room," I'm like, "No, Mr. J is a man of the people. Batman cannot lie and pretend that he doesn't know his own house."
That's just your political pro-Joker bias.
Yeah, I don't know, Paul. It really sounds like you're just letting your pro-Joker agenda cloud you.
I thought this was a safe space for me.
You know how Bruce Wayne is a man of the people? When his parents got killed, they just say his dad was a doctor. You don't get a house like that from doctor money. You guys are lying.
Well, he performed special surgeries on A1 Nut Boys. So.
he put the nut in Nut Boy.
Vasectomies, yes.
They paid him a lot of money for that.
But the problem with this is I really like Michael Keaton as Batman. I think Vicky Vale is a horrendous character. I hate this character.
I'm going to be brave and bold and proud and say I like Vicky Vale.
She just screams.
No. She also stares while being pretty.
She's there for Batman and the Joker to fight over because they decided to not give Batman a different kind of arc. So all he has is this relationship, and the Joker has the origin and everything,
yes, that's the thing. The Joker has the most complete arc. Really, it's a tragedy about the Joker, his rise and his fall. Literally.
Well, I got it. So I'm sorry that I got offended for you for implying that he was not a virgin, but I think this is the story of an A1 nut boy becoming a beta virgin, essentially becoming the Joker.
Well, yeah,
because he starts as this like Italian.
Wait, Jaden can say it and I can say it.
That's right. I am at least half Italian. Okay, so he's this guy. He's like banging chicks left and right. He's Clownzo Jokerini. And as the movie progresses, he sees a girl in a picture. He can only like nod to the picture, but he can't get her, and it's just him pathetically chasing this girl. It's so brilliant.
And when she fakes giving him a blowjob, he's kind of taken aback. He doesn't know what to do.
Zero Sigma energy. That's the Joker.
Yeah.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Bruce Wayne is an incel who collects armor and like doesn't know his own house. But you know what she teaches him? The bedroom.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, we learned
Well,
a
you
lot
know,
about
Vicky
that
Vale is
room.
also an award-winning journalist known for her wartime photography in Corto Maltese, which is a Dark Knight Returns reference. Also, fun fact about Vicky Vale, in the original script, she was supposed to be Silver St. Cloud, who was a spoiled, flighty heiress who learned Batman's secret identity while she was dating him. However, they thought the name Silver St. Cloud was too silly, so they picked the much more reasonable name, Vicky Vale, and made her the journalist. I also think part of the choice was they were so scared. They were like, only Superman had really done this before, so I think they probably were like,
What sex?
and we're just going to have Lois Lane here.
Yeah, well, she's also supposed to be the audience POV character.
Yeah.
And purely script in their minds as they're writing it. It's like, okay, we need to have like some sort of observer that the audience can get behind. But then that gets completely lost and she's just relegated because she's supposed to be solving the mystery of Batman. But then she gets sidetracked with solving the mystery of Bruce Wayne. She screams a little and then that's it. So you kind of lose that POV character. Yes, so we've gotten to Axis Chemicals.
Well, I guess if we're there, can I say the most baffling 3-minute span in this whole movie? So, yes, Batman has already come in through the ceiling. He's taken out goons. Joker's there with a couple guys. I mean, Jack. Jack is there with a couple guys.
The A1 Nutboy and his gooners.
A1 Nutboy and his gooners are there, and they're fighting the police. And Eckhart is there, and the Gordon's there. The Gordon's just walking. He's like, come out, Napier. We want you alive. And Jack points his gun at him and says, I'm going to shoot the commissioner, you morons. And then Batman shows up. And Napier, like, tries to shoot at him. And it doesn't work. And he's like, who are you? And Batman just dips for a second. Like, he just leaves.
Batman actually like he's apprehended the Jack Napier, but Bob the Goon holds a gun up to Gordon and goes like, let him go or else I'm going to shoot Commissioner Gordon, which is what Jack Napier was going to do anyway. And then he lets him go. Batman disappears. And then he decides instead of shooting Gordon, he sees Eckhart because Eckhart betrayed him.
Wait, but here's what I don't get about that. So Batman disappears.
Yes.
Joker sees Eckhart because Eckhart has wandered into that passageway.
He's wandered into a line of sight. So now Joker can see him.
Think about the future. And he shoots Eckhart. And then after shooting Eckhart, Batman redescends.
He doesn't even redescend. He's just there.
Yeah, what was Batman doing that whole time?
You don't understand the ninja mind.
Look, Batman's stupid. It just proves it. Joker is
what
the
it
king.
proves is that this movie's a dream.
No, it is, because it makes sense that Joker would kill the cop who's corrupt. But how do you justify that in the movie? Like, if you put it on, like, a corkboard of script notes, Joker kills Lieutenant Eckhart right before Batman knocks him into a vat of chemicals. Makes sense. However, the way it's done in the movie is Batman literally has to just disappear and Eckhart has to just wander in the frame and Commissioner Gordon is just standing there doing nothing.
It seems like you're forgetting that they are in a chemical plant and they're inhaling all these dangerous chemicals. They're not right in the head.
There's so much lead.
Everybody's a little jokery in this.
Yeah,
scene.
right now everyone's a little jokery when you get in the cum tank. Yeah, it happens.
Joker fires a gun at Batman.
And Batman Wonder Womans him.
It deflects off of his gauntlet and hits Joker in the face. It's not only that he falls into a vat of acid, but the reason why he has that smile is because he was shot in the face and then fell into acid, and that's why he looks fucked up.
I do want to point out, I believe this is the first version of the Joker that actually says he has a permanent smile.
Yes.
Which is really cool.
But it makes no sense later on because they have this scene to explain why his face is fucked up. But then he develops Smilex, where everyone gets a Joker smile, but they didn't have to get shot in the face to do that.
Because he's a scientist and an artist.
Yeah, he figured it out. He turned completely Giga Chad. But yeah, this is our founding myth.
Yes.
Of our god. He falls into this bucket of cum, and just a white hand comes out, and it's Uncle Ben.
An A1 nut boy has become an
It's
A1
a couple
nut
more
man.
minutes before we get to see him in his full glory.
Yeah, Batman has to have sex. Vicky Vale is now dating this awkward guy she talked to for 3 minutes at a party. And Alfred's on it. He's telling all the embarrassing stories.
In a dialogue exchange that makes absolutely no sense. It is just there for filler because at one point Vicky Vale talks about, my grandpa had a cabin somewhere. Where did your parents come from? And it's just like, okay. And we get a little bit of hinting that his parents died.
So listeners, you're now at the point of the podcast where Troy argues all these filler conversations are actually the emotional heart of the movie and what it's trying to do. We can debate its execution, but clearly there is the idea. I think Tim Burton said the whole point of the movie was that both Joker and Batman are freaks. And why is Batman a freak? Because he's a weird little rich boy and he dresses up as a bat to beat up criminals. So all these conversations are important for establishing that Bruce Wayne is an odd guy. Like, even if he wasn't Batman, he would be weird.
I'd say more than this conversation, what establishes this is when they fuck and then they sleep and then he's sleeping upside down.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, that's great. Where during the night that the Joker's being born, we just cut back to Vicky Vale, like, waking up in bed, and he's not sleeping with her. He's sleeping upside down like a literal bat.
That is a great shorthand of, like, this guy is insane. Like, he's pretending to be like, oh, I'm just a normal guy, but it's like, no, I'm really bad.
It's so literal. It's like Tim Burton. He's a Batman. He sleeps upside down. Yeah.
He shits in a cave.
Yeah. He goons in a cave.
He goons in a cave.
Yeah, exactly.
Like James Bond.
Yes, like, they are both A1 nut boys. They're two sides of the same.
That's why we love them.
Cum-filled hand.
Batman, Joker, James Bond, they're all
So
A1.
we need to get to, Joker is born because of a botched surgery.
Okay. 2 hours into this podcast, we can describe. So there's a dolly shot that moves from the right to the left. And he's in a chair. You know.
The reason why I'm bringing up this scene is because...
Well, the scene is important for us.
Well, we all know that the scene was gloriously parodied in The Simpsons, where Lisa gets her braces.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, speaking of dentists, you may recognize the tools that are used to do surgery on the Joker as the dentist tools from Little Shop of Horrors, the 1986 one with Steve Martin.
I was saying, I was recognize them, and Jake didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know. We were thinking, I'm like, is it Dead Ringers?
They're also from Dead Ringers. They were then used in Dead Ringers and then Batman. 3 movies.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They look fucking nasty. But I also, I feel like the implication of this scene is that he's not just crazy because of the chemicals. He's crazy because his face is fucked. Right.
No, I think that is the implication was the chemicals would have been fine, but he saw he looked like the Joker and he's like, I'm no longer gonna sex up all the chicks.
Now I am clown. I am become clown, teller of jokes.
He went from jock to theater kid so quickly.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And it's a fantastic scene. Very spooky. This is when the Joker is spooky.
I was thinking about this. So normally accepted wisdom is you want the reveal in the office, right? But when he was in that chair and the laughing was starting to grow, I kind of wanted to see the face Jack Nicholson was making. Like, what kind of face was he making?
Well, that's okay, Troy, because in the graphic novel version, you do see his face at
but
that
that's
scene.
not Jack Nicholson, that's a drawing.
Yes, but it looks like Jack Nicholson. But yeah, we get the glorious reveal where he reveals himself to Grissom, Jack Palance, and shoots him to death. And he's in shadow. And he comes out of shadow, and everything looks great. The makeup looks great, except there's a giant purple stain on his neck because the white grease paint got on his coat, and they tried covering up the paint on the coat with purple shoe polish. But then the collar went up to his neck, and now there's a giant purple hickey on him. I think what actually happened is that he got with Bob the Goon before.
It was
he let Bob the Goon explore the new Joker before. But what's the great line he says? He's like,
Jack is dead.
You can call me Joker.
Did anyone else get teary-eyed when he said, "You can call me Joker"?
I felt a little seen, yeah.
The original line was apparently, "I'm not effing Jack!" And then he was going to shoot him. I like the Joker line better because it has the word Joker.
Was this going to be a hard R? The makeup looks good. I'll say it looks a little bit. Part of what makes it scary is he does kind of look like he got like, you know, the plastic surgery where you get like a duck mouth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's all the rage these days.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The Gen Z.
Yes.
No, he looks like a 60-year-old woman from Beverly Hills.
He basically is. Okay, but then we get to the most terrifying scene with the skeleton.
Yeah.
He's shot Grissom, and then he calls the meeting, and this is where we get to the craziest part of Jack Nicholson's Joker that bothered me a lot as a kid.
It's the best part.
No, this bothered me a lot as a kid.
I love it.
That he keeps putting flesh makeup on over it. So as a kid, as a cynical child, I wondered, I'm like, so did Jack Nicholson just not want to be in makeup, and that's why they had to do the mouth thing, was so he still kind of looks jokery, but they don't have to do the full makeup. But every single time he puts on the flesh makeup, he does something that reveals the white underneath, which begs the question, why does he do it so often? Like, I get it in this scene where it's a reveal.
Because you see, there's a thematic Joker theme behind it, because he says on TV, "I've taken my makeup off, Batman. How about you?"
I have taken off my makeup.
But actually, he has makeup on. He's fooling everyone.
Yes.
His real face is Joker.
It's funny that because Jack Nicholson didn't have a mustache, the way they duplicate that level of what the hell is he doing is by putting makeup on over the Joker makeup. Instead of Joker makeup over his flesh, it's flesh makeup over his Joker.
I think it's awesome.
I was confused. And then they do it, and because they did it here, they did it in the 1990 Captain America movie where the Red Skull has like a red skull, but then he's like, I'm going to put normal skull makeup on and just be an Italian man.
It may be Jennifer Lawrence Mystique, like I don't want to be in blue paint all the time.
No, but he's still in heavy makeup, and when he wipes the thing off, it's still the white face application with like an oil thing on it, and then this very thin coat of like tan paint, and then he had to wipe it with this oil drenched napkin.
And also, it is absolutely hilarious when they reveal him, with his human makeup, and you're thinking like, did he think this would make him look normal? He's
the Joker. Nothing makes sense.
Well, yes, and this is right after he goes, "Wait till they get a load of me."
Oh yeah,
whoop,
wait till this.
Whoop.
Whoop.
Which is, every time he does that, I'm like, that is such an insane acting choice. I love this.
It's what a Joker moment.
Yeah.
But he carries it home. He carries it home with another Joker laugh, so it all comes back around. Throughout the rest of the movie, he's making a bunch of bizarre non sequiturs.
Yeah, like when he leaves Vicky's apartment and he farts.
Yes. What I love about the timeline of this scene is we know from Bruce Wayne and Vicky Vale's one night stand, this has all been like a day or maybe two. And Joker walks into this mob meeting. He set up the whole Joker operation. All his goons have like jackets. Like he's good to go.
I love
He's
the
like,
jackets. I want that so bad. That was
those are cool jackets.
As Joker fans, you're not a true jokeman until
you have a Joker production crew jacket.
God, it's funny on TV tropes. They were like in the 80s. These jackets would have looked scary. But now we all just wear these normally.
I wasn't born in the 80s, so I can't attest to that, but that seems false.
now it's just real life, man.
Now we're all Joker goons.
Now we're all Joker.
Now we're all gooning for the A1 nut boy.
Okay, he turns the guy into a skeleton with
Oh
a
yeah,
buzzer.
this scene messed me up as a kid where he's like, no hard feelings.
Really? This is like when I always go like, this is a goofy Joker.
Yeah, this is terrifying. Jan, what's your psycho problem?
It's funny. He's singing and dancing.
The guy catches on fire and then he turns into a spoopy skeleton.
Yeah, that's silly. That's funny.
No. All right. But no, that scene, it struck me on this rewatch, how long he spends just talking to the skeleton of that random Italian mob guy. He is just conversing, and I'm like, this is genuinely unnerving.
No, it's funny.
Like, he is a scary Joker.
Yeah.
Like, he's such a spooky Joker.
No, because it's just like, where did he get the button?
From a Joker store.
Why is he a skeleton? Why is he talking to him?
Yeah, and you know this must have hit audiences in 1989 really hard, because when the 1966 Joker joy buzzed someone, they just went zzz, and there was like blue electricity. But this guy caught on fire
and died.
It's funny.
So Batman and Vicky Vale have had their one night stand. Batman says, I can't hang out because I got a very important meeting. Alfred fucks it up by going like, we're not going anywhere. What are you talking about? And one of the many cycles of Alfred being a complete moron.
I want her to find out you're Batman.
And like being completely conspicuous about, did you know that Bruce Wayne is Batman?
Yeah.
And so Vicky Vale is hot on the trail looking at what Bruce Wayne is up to, and he goes to an alleyway and leaves a rose, and she's like, what the fuck is this sick, twisted shit? At the same time, the mob bosses are talking to the press, the Joker is there dressed as a mime, and he throws a pen at the Italian guy.
This is another one of those scenes where I'm like, how big is Gotham City? So right next to the Monarch Theater, which played Footlight Frenzy, you have like City Hall, where someone is getting all of Carl Grissom's businesses, and like he's there, Alexander Knox is there, Vicky Vale is there, Bruce Wayne is just standing there, and yeah, the Joker comes out and he bounces out like a mime, and he's like, Carl Grissom is dead, and he gave you the business with this pen, whonk, and he stabs him in the neck. His goons shoot like 7 police officers who do nothing. And Bruce Wayne sees the Joker. And much like when Paul first saw the Joker, he is drawn to him. He steps over the bodies of the dead and the crippled to get a better look
I step over the corpses of my fellow podcasters and I say, take me, Joker.
And also, one detail that is missed if you blink during the scene, Bruce Wayne gets fucking shot in the arm.
Yeah, he does.
And is still walking.
Yeah, but he doesn't care because who's the Joker?
Well, this is when he realizes that that Jack Napier's alive. He is now the Joker. Vicky Vale's like, what the fuck are you doing here, Bruce Wayne? And Bruce Wayne's like...
And he's like, Gotham City is a small town. And also, that was a one-night stand.
I just remembered this scene is really scary because they're dressed as mimes, and I hate mimes.
Yes. That's what's wild.
Yeah.
They choose to be mine.
Look, people love a good scary clown. I will say to your point about Gotham feeling like a small town. Yeah, this does have the Blade Runner thing of like, it's huge and amazing, like production design and everything, but they basically put like 80% of their production into this one backlot street, right?
Yeah.
So you do get a sense of like, I mean, it's great because it's 360 and you don't have like,
and it's fucking.
I mean, you only have the matte shots when it's really, really wide.
Yeah.
You know, but it does mean that if you're looking, you're like, oh, right, they're just kind of in one square, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's like, wow, the Guggenheim Museum is right next to the Monarch Theater, which is right next to Crime Alley, which is right next to City Hall.
And it's funny because
right
that family at the beginning seemed completely lost. They're like, Jimmy, give me the map. Yeah. Where is everything? And it's like, it's all right there. Where are you?
All here. Okay, so then Jokester sees a picture of Vicky Vale. And he's like, me likey.
Honka honka.
Here's what grinds my gears. Bob the Goon is like, boss, that's Vicky Vale. She's a journalist. She's dating some guy named Bruce Wayne. First off, some guy. What? Second, how does he know they're dating? They had a one-night stand.
Bob knows everything. Bob is omnipresent. Bob is a stand-in for Tim Burton. I'll say it. Because he's just like, the Joker's like the studio. He's like, you're my number one guy. And Tim Burton just wants to be shot in the face the entire time.
Tim Burton does a great job, and then John Peters shoots him in the face.
As does it all. I do love the moment when Joker goes, Bob, you're my number one guy. Like he's doing a Jack Palance impersonation. That's good.
That's why, okay, if Joker is Giga Chad, the fucking Bob is Giga Bowser in this, okay? Because Joker's like rubbing him and he's like, you're my number one guy. Bob, completely on face, he's just like, Yeah. I'm like, that is a fucking man right there.
As he puts on his sunglasses.
Yeah, as he puts on his sunglasses. So cool. So cool, Bob.
Yeah. So the Joker has announced his two main goals. One, have sex with Vicky Vale. And to make sure Batman stops stealing his breath. Because everyone blames Batman for his mime attack, even though Batman wasn't there.
Oh, and the scene following this where it's like the news lady that dies laughing, that is fucking freaky. That is great.
Oh, yeah, that is such a dark... And the models?
I love that Joker.
Love that Joker.
Yeah, that scene freaked me out as a kid.
Which, okay, I will say is a callback to the beginning, because if you look at Jack Napier's office, it's decorated with black and white photos of models with ruby red lipstick. And so his first victims are models with ruby red lipstick.
Speaking of models, I do want to briefly give a shout out. The last time we see that office, when he's dressed in the little fez, and Jerry Hall comes back in and he's like, "Hello, darling." And she passes out and he just sits there like,
yeah, he's drinking a martini.
Yeah, and he's just like, okay.
It starts this whole thing of like, my plan is I'm gonna put Joker stuff in all the beauty products. And you're like, the fuck? Well, okay.
Why? This is why this movie is the perfect Joker thing, because
it's chaos.
Nothing about the movie makes sense. This is why we're devolving into just talking about different scenes in order, because this movie is from the point of view of the Joker.
I noticed this on this watch. So again, if this movie's arc is about Joker's journey from the Chad Jack Napier to the incel Joker, do you notice the Joker only targets women in this movie?
Shut up. That is not very Joker
Yes,
of you.
it is. After he takes over the mob, he kills the lady newscaster, not the male newscaster. He kills supermodels. He kills his girlfriend. He tries to kill Vicky Vale.
Joker is a perfect gentleman. I don't like what you're implying. And one more word and I'll leave.
Well, he also kills everybody in the art museum.
Yeah, they were in an art museum. Honorary women.
Whoa.
Okay, you're back on track. Yeah, you're back on track on the Joker rhetoric.
Thank you. Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
I will say this before we move on from the newscasting scene. Genuinely terrified me as a child.
It's that is spooky, but funny, but spooky.
I fully believed that movie was rated R because of his wacky. And this is the thing, though. This is why I can't say Jack Nicholson is a low effort Joker. That whole commercial, he commits 110% to being the showman in the commercial. Like, that is such a silly, stupid commercial.
And I also remarked to Jake while we were watching it, that commercial in particular, I was like, it says major, like, Beetlejuice, you know.
Yeah.
With, like, the Hawaiian shit.
Like, hey, come on, call me.
Yeah, just a huckster. Yeah.
Love the lips animated on the face. Love that Joker.
Michael Keaton would have been a good Joker.
Who?
Batman.
Yeah, he gets
All right, are we allowed to talk about the museum?
Okay. Wait. I have one last observation to make, but this does tie into the museum as well. I think what Tim Burton brought to the table that I don't think any other Batman director really has done. I'm sorry, Christopher Nolan. Tim Burton is actually like a social satirist. He does satire. So watching it this time, you could see this movie as like a satire of the hyperconsumption of the 1980s.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. You're on my team.
Yeah. This is like the wacko millionaire must save the consumers who just want money and beauty products. And the villain is the artist.
And it's even accentuated on as they keep cutting
to
back
the reporters, and they have warts on their face.
Yeah, every single time you see them, they look more and more fucked up.
Well, everyone else looks fine. Like the politicians are fine.
Which is why this is a quintessential Joker movie. Like, the screenplay makes no sense, but it's also about society. It's criticizing
Yes, and there's
society.
a major clue to this in the next scene, Paul, as you were saying.
So then we get to this big old scene where
all right, Vicky Vale has been invited
she's
to the
invited,
museum.
yes, with a letter.
Yeah.
Yes, from Bruce Wayne,
Yes.
allegedly, because she's like, oh, I'm in love with this guy after one night stand. Maybe I can get a second date. So he invites her to a museatron or a restuium to have dinner with every painting you've ever heard of. And then suddenly she opens the box and puts on a gas mask and bang, Smilex out the wazoo.
And then we get the best scene, not in the movie, in cinema history.
Party City! The best use of a Prince song.
Party City! Yeah!
Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds. Lawrence, and he dances to Prince.
Yeah.
Probably the most jokery thing he has done yet in this movie is dance to Prince. You may say that Joker, his main thing, he laughs at things that aren't funny. This man has just killed everyone in this building except for Vicky Vale, and now he is dancing over their corpses, defiling paintings.
Every painting known to man, except for like this one dark painting that I'm sorry I didn't learn the name of.
Oh, the Francis Bacon painting.
Leave it, Bob.
Which when I saw that, I was like, Joker's my guy.
Joker, the $1 bill.
Well, yeah, that's also what cracks me up about this scene. Is like the vandalism is so lame. Like he just paints Joker was here.
Yeah, Joker was here.
This is right after Bruce Wayne looked at the file that Jack Namier's wanted, and it's like he's an artist. He wanted to be an artist ever since he was a little boy, and then he just writes Joker was.
Yeah. Well,
and it's like, got him.
Here's the thing: is like him. I don't even take him actually wanting to be an artist as like any sort of character development. It's just like another non sequitur that he's
free, Jake.
Yeah,
but he's just doing it just because he's in an art museum. He's just like,
but he picked the art museum. He invited Vicky Vale to the art museum.
This is a case where also like his human makeup cracks me the fuck up because it's like he thinks he wants to present himself as handsome to Vicky Vale.
This is where he's got the floppy hat, right?
Yeah, he's got the floppy hat, and then Vicky Vale is like, "What do you want?" He's like, "My face on the $1 bill."
What do you want?
My face on the $1 bill.
And it's like, why?
Why?
And it's like, you must be joking. And he goes, "Do I look like I'm joking?"
Well, you do look very Jokerish.
It's great.
We haven't really talked about how well Batman's outfit is a radical redesign. The Joker's outfit is just the comic book, baby.
Well, the only thing radical, I don't think Batman's design is that radical because it still looks like this.
He's all black. Where's my gray?
That's the only thing that's different, but everything else looks like Batman. Like he has like the long ears of the 70s Batman.
Where's his underwear?
Who cares?
But anyway, the Joker looks exactly like the Joker from the comics. Tim Burton did not soft pedal this at all. He is in the fit. He is in the purple suit, orange like shirt. The fit is there. And what I also find funny is all the goons are wearing little Joker lapels where the Joker has a triangular face like in the comics. Yeah. Even though Jack Nicholson is like the most round-faced dude to ever
At
live.
least in this period of his career when he started eating, yes.
Though I'm kind of convinced that they made his chin longer when he's in the Joker makeup.
Yes,
yeah, I think they do a little bit because that's so important to the Joker that he be a triangle. Also, where do you guys fall on the theory that Tim Burton is one of the henchmen in this scene?
Is that a theory?
Some people say you can see him as one of the henchmen messing up the paint.
No, that's just Bob.
Yeah, that's Bob.
No, there's like 12 guys.
Are you thinking of the Francis Bacon painting? Because that's a painting.
No.
Anyway, they do a Wizard of Oz reference because Vicky Vale throws water on his face, but he's actually the Joker. Batman comes down and saves the day. Then there's a car chase, and then they're in an alleyway.
Does he save the day?
He saves her.
All those people are dead.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're dead. He did nothing.
He's a bad Batman. He's always late to the party.
He saved the Pootie tank. That's what Batman does.
No, but this movie, the preconceptions people always have is the Joker kills so many people. Why doesn't Batman just kill him? One,
he does.
The Joker does not normally kill this many people because Batman stops him. But in this movie, you have scene after scene of Joker killing so many people, and then Batman's like 5 minutes late for no good reason. Like he knows where he's gonna be.
Look, Batman's fun. That's why we can't stand Batman. That's why it's the Joker podcast, and that's why I get how twisted his mind is. I gotta acknowledge the bit where he's flipping through Vicky's portfolio and he's like, model shots, crap.
Oh yeah, crap.
Your photos, starving children. Now this I like.
Speaks to me.
Crap. Ah, now that's good work.
This is what I'm trying to put out into the world. Oh, in the face! What he does to Jerry Hall, where he makes her wear the weird mask and she's like Two-Faced now.
It's like Eyes Without a Face a little bit.
So messed up.
She's kind of a precursor to Harley Quinn, sort of.
Yes, but it has an absolutely hilarious moment that's right out of like a David Wayne movie where like he's like, "Where's your wife?" And he's like, "She died, so that's over."
Oh, I thought you were gonna say when her face is revealed and then you see her face and she has like a scar. She looks like objectively like the least horrifying thing. Like Bob the Goon looks more horrifying than she does. Like,
she takes her mask off and she looks like Bob.
Honestly, I will say this. When I was 8, I was messed up by everything the Joker did. Her face scared me. The fire guy scared me. Him shooting Grissom scared me. The mime thing scared 10 out of 10 on Joker attacks in this movie. I was traumatized by like everything this guy did.
That was the plan.
Okay, so Batman takes Vicky.
Wait, I do want to point out one more thing. We find out through Vicky Vale and Batman's escape plan, Batman's plan is 1, how much do you weigh? I'll use the 108-pound belt to get you out of here, while I will throw myself on the ground, allow myself to get shot in the stomach twice, and then I shall fight a ninja for your honor.
And Batman mysteriously turns into another guy for a couple shots.
No, I noticed that. They're close-ups too, and it's not Michael Keaton.
Yeah, well, here's where my previous criticism that I mentioned is when it really starts coming into place with the action sequences, where it's like, they're serviceable, but here's where you can tell, like, okay, here, like, Tim Burton can't quite keep everything in his head. It's being carried by the atmosphere, the cinematography, the art direction, but you're like, I mean, it's not enough to kill the scene.
Yeah, no, they're not great action scenes because the atmosphere is so important. Because, a hot take for me, superhero movies are not about action. You don't go to superhero movies for good action scenes. You don't. You go for the atmosphere and wacky soap opera.
You go for a lobotomy.
This town deserves an enema.
I go to Marvel movies for the atmosphere.
So, right.
Exactly.
The atmosphere of being in a parking lot.
The one cool thing about this action scene is there's like the flashes of light whenever Batman punches someone, and that's supposed to be Vicky Vale taking pictures the entire time, but it's not properly established, and the lights are just kind of going off at random. But then I read somewhere where, like, in editing, they're like, if we use the flash whenever he punches someone, it's kind of a cool effect. And that is an effect that they would later translate over to the animated series. So, like, whenever Batman does, like, a giant punch, there's a quick flash of white.
Which helps get around the censorship as well.
And is a evolution of the Pow, Zap, and Wham from the 60s show.
It is. It's delightful. Also, Vicky Vale is a psycho. Batman got shot twice in the stomach, and she's like, photo.
Yeah.
Photo.
Alex Garland should make a movie about Vicky Vale.
Well, and it's funny because she has not been on the trail of the Batman for the last 40 minutes of the movie, and then she remembers, right.
Well, but then again, like, speaking of your point, Troy, of this movie really being about atmosphere, the scene that follows, I'll go full Doug Walker here and be like, look at it. It's so beautiful.
You mean the little toy car going into the little toy cave? Yeah.
Yeah, the toy car is like, the music, the atmosphere, the trees. Look at it.
Then they don't say a line. They don't say anything.
Say a word. And it's so beautiful.
I don't think a movie would be brave enough nowadays to just have silence and atmosphere. For those who don't know, I'm quoting an actual Doug Walker discussion.
No, we are.
Of this scene,
we
and it's
hate
top 40
it.
favorite movie.
Or hate/love when we're like, actually, Doug Walker, good critic, good opinion.
So he takes her to the cave and he basically goes like, I figured out how the Joker toxin works. It won't work by itself if you use hairspray, but if you mix it with a bunch of shit, you'll become the Joker.
Which is actually really smart.
It's just like, oh, how did you figure this out, world's greatest detective? I don't know. It was off screen. And then she's like, why did you take me here? I don't know. And then he backgasses her and leaves her.
Well, this scene is this is the scariest scene in the movie, and it's a very clear indication this was made by a bunch of 80s dudes, because he just like goes like this. Like, we wake up in her like all drugged in her apartment, touches her boobs and goes like, oh no. And I'm like, oh my God, what did Batman do?
I thought that too. I'm like, what?
And then she's like, he took the pictures. And I'm like, that's what you're worried about.
Jim, she's been on the trail of the Batman, and then we're finally reminded that again when Alexander Knox goes like, where the fuck have you been? You're supposed to be looking for Batman.
Okay, I was curious about this. So when they're reporting, they have a front page story, Batman figures it out. What are their sources? Did he give like a scientific paper explaining through trial and error how he figured this out?
He gave them the documents that proved it, that the corporate government and corporate secrets, you know.
It's pretty weak sauce storytelling.
And everyone in the movie in Gotham is like, don't use deodorant in combination.
Also, like, this next scene, it's good, but it's so weird.
The apartment?
The apartment,
where
yes.
Bruce Wayne is finally gonna tell her, again, just like in Spider-Man, he's thinking about telling her.
Yeah, thinking about telling her, but it's like, Vicky is angry at him because he didn't show up at the museum, and I'm like,
it was the Joker. And she's like, oh, you don't love me. And he's like, I don't. We had sex.
It was a one-night stand.
Just because you became best friends with Alfred doesn't mean we're getting married.
But he is there to tell her. But also, like, even besides the fact that it wasn't Bruce Wayne that invited her to the art gallery, it's also like, I saw you like do twisted shit in an alleyway, like dropping off a rose, and then you got shot in the arm, and then you like walked away.
Stepped over my body to get a better look at the Joker.
Yeah.
I relate to Vicky so much.
And this is where Michael Keaton's like, I need to have a scene where I'm not covered in Batman face, and I get to act.
Going fucking crazy. And then Mr. Jokes shows up. And it's awesome.
What is Joker's plan here? He's trying to, again, woo Vicky Vale, but then he sees Bruce Wayne there.
He's trying the gentle touch, and then Bruce Wayne tries to get nuts.
Joker kind of knows that he killed Bruce Wayne's parents at this point, or does he not remember?
No, he doesn't.
It's so confusing.
But he knows who Bruce Wayne is.
Yeah, but he knows Bruce Wayne is because Bob told him.
Right, okay.
It's I don't know, it's shotly delivered, and although I love the like, well, of course the iconic, you want to get nuts, let's get nuts, you know.
I have some stuff about you want to get nuts. So
please.
Michael Keaton is quoted by saying in this Batman book by Les Daniels, he says, "You see, part of Bruce Wayne and Batman was a little crazy, but you hadn't seen it because I decided to play it very contained." Up to this point.
Okay, sure.
But at that point, I needed to show another color. I wanted to show you that with all the flamboyance around me, if need be, I could come up to it. So I actually kind of rewrote some of that scene. I'm like, no way, Michael Keaton. You wanted to overact Jack Nicholson in your scene without the mask?
That's basically what happened, because Jack Nicholson isn't wearing flesh makeup. He is the Joker. And Michael Keaton's like, I'm going to be a bigger psycho than
the Joker's just standing there, and he looks genuinely, like, concerned.
Yeah, he's like, do you need a doctor? Do you need to go to an insane asylum?
Yeah, because Michael Keaton's going off on, like, there's this guy named Jack, and he went a little crazy, and Joker's just like, what the hell are you talking about? And then he just takes a fire poker and smashes a vase and gives what weirdly has become this immortal line of, you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
It's so great that decades later, they made him say that with complete lack of interest to two Ezra Millers.
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
And then Joker says his iconic line, do you ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Now he has a catchphrase.
The hardest line ever.
The most critical line in the entire movie because it sets up the entire relationship between Batman and Joker.
And this is an issue I have with this scene. I think this is actually a bit of shoddy storytelling. It could have very easily been fixed by swapping a few scenes. What do I mean with this? When Batman realizes that Jack Napier killed his parents, he kind of just remembers. He's just sitting there and he goes, oh yeah. which fucking sucks. storytelling wise. But
I will say it's even funnier when you realize he has a picture of young Jack Napier in the file he's had the whole movie.
and the guy that they got looks exactly like Jack Nicholson. But it could have worked if we had gotten a flashback scene earlier of how his parents got murdered, and we hear the line, "You ever dance with the devil of the pale moonlight?"
Yes, and then we hear him.
Exactly. So when Joker says it, he goes, "Oh shit, it's you," and that makes a little more sense, even though I don't love the whole aspect of Joker being Joe Chill in this.
All right. Vicky Vale senses that Bruce Wayne is going to grab the poker, and on her own, she walks 10 feet forward so he can grab the poker. How did she know? Then she doesn't even notice Bruce Wayne disappearing like a Batman, which he's not in character, so he just does this now. He just disappears.
Just a weird guy.
This is around when he remembers.
Yes, this is the point. This is the climax of the movie, is the reveal that the Joker is Batman's parent killer. It can't happen earlier because this is the Joker's movie and we're watching his art. So now it has to happen now.
But we're also from the point of view of Vicky Vale, who has to talk to Alexander Knox, who reveals to her, thus us, that the Waynes were murdered.
Yeah.
And when the Waynes are murdered, that's when Michael Keaton realizes...
Remembers that the Waynes were murdered.
Yeah, and that Jack Napier killed his parents.
That adds, nothing. Apart from the whole, you created me, I created you, which is
Well, Bob Kane said... he wished he thought of that because he thought it tied Batman and the Joker better together.
Oh, that guy didn't invent shit. He stole everything from a kid named Finger.
Also, I want to point out, as a true nerd, 2 things about the flashback to the death of the Waynes, which I think is very well done and is a very chilling moment. This Tim Burton, he's quite the director. 1, the movie that Bruce Wayne sees before his parents get killed is Footlight Frenzy. So he should have been inspired to go into musical. The only person who dances in this movie is Joker outside of Vicky Vale's apartment.
There's music in his heart.
There is music in his heart and joy in his glee. Second, we keep saying the Joker is Joe Chill. This is incorrect. The Joker has a second guy who helps him during his robbery.
Who is presumably Bob.
No, the producers of the film have confirmed that's Joe Chill. That's not Bob. You might assume it's Bob.
That's such bullshit. They didn't know who Joe Chill was.
I know it's bullshit.
What, John Peters said that?
John Peters and Michael Uslan have said that is the Burton version of Joe Chill. And why does this seem familiar to our listeners? Because in Spider-Man 3, we find out that the Sandman killed Uncle Ben, and the burglar from the comics was standing next to him, just like how in this movie, Joe Chill is standing next to the Joker, who is this guy, Hugo G. Blick. I don't know what else he did. Scariest looking guy to ever live.
Yeah, he could have played the Joker.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, is he looks more like Jack Nicholson Joker than the Jack Nicholson Joker.
Yes, that's the horrifying part.
And he's just some British guy.
Yeah, he's just some British guy they picked up off the street. He's like the Darko Belgrade of Jokers.
You ever dance with the devil by the pale moonlight?
Do you ever dance with the devil in the pit? He sounds like
moonlight.
Oh, governor.
Yeah,
that's how he sounded.
Oi, kid. I'm gonna kill your bloody parents.
Yeah, he's wearing like a little 1930s hat, even though this shooting must have happened in 1963.
Yeah, but people still wore hats. It doesn't matter. Anyway, Vicky is let into the Batcave. Everyone complains about the scene where Alfred lets Vicky in the Batcave, but I have to give the movie credit. It is set up in the previous scene where Alfred's like, I won't bury
another Batman.
No, I mean, it ties into my theory of Alfred just trying to sabotage Bruce Wayne, trying to get him killed, exposed.
Well, he just wants him to get married. He just wants him to get out of stop gooning in his cave, stop being an incel collecting armor from around the world.
Yeah, but it also, I don't blame people for thinking that it's like Alfred is incompetent, because throughout the entire movie, Alfred is suspiciously conspicuous about every single thing that Batman does and sabotages him.
He just wants Vicky Vale to know he's Batman. He knows she's hot. He knows she's nice. He knows she is an award-winning journalist. she's a catch. But also Sam Hamm has disowned this scene. He said,
Yes.
I was on strike. I did not write Alfred letting Vicky Vale into the Batcave.
Or Joker killing Batman's parents.
If Alfred let Vicky Vale into the Batcave in my watch, in my script, he would be fired the next day.
Sorry, Alfred. I have to kill you.
Well, they do one step further. In Batman Returns, they make a joke about it, going like,
oh yeah,
Alfred, who let Vicky in the Batcave?
Who let Vicky Vale into the Batcave? I'm sitting there working, and I turn around. There she is. Oh, hi, Vic. Come on in.
You dumbass.
Which is why, in my opinion, Batman Returns is a much more gooder movie.
I'm sorry I dropped the F-bomb. People from my job listen to this podcast, and they're like, whoa, Troy, you swear a lot on here. You
Shut the
don't swear
fuck
this
up.
much.
Anyways,
Anyway, so somehow we go from the death of a hero to escape to slightly comedic with Alfred. We go from
Right.
Vicky finds out who Batman is. He's like, I have to go now, blows up the factory, and then we're at the parade. No real like.
No, because now he knows that the Joker killed his parents, and now it's time to stop effing around. He's actually going to go to the place where he knew the Joker was the whole time, blow it up, kill everyone inside.
Yes.
And-
yeah.
But the twist is Joker's not there. Joker's in a helicopter.
I still like it for how bizarre it is from here on out, but it is where I'm kind of like, I'm not as engaged anymore because it's just like non sequitur things happening, and then it's mostly action that's not that interesting.
This is the entire movie for me, Jan. I'm still into it because the rest of the movie has been like this.
But it's like mostly like kind of lame action, to be honest.
This has come up a couple times on the podcast and in most movie reviews that most people do. It's so interesting that so often as movie reviewers, we say, I kind of lose interest in the third act because it's just the good guy versus the bad guy, and we got to do all this action and stuff. But that's not the case in most movies. Like, most movies that are adventure movies don't have action movies. So, like, we zip over the scenes where people have dialogue and we say it's filler. But then we get to the climactic action scenes and we say it's no good. So why do we go to the movies?
Well, the problem is this is a movie that has good aspects, but those two elements are not exceptional.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. But this is what makes this movie an anomaly because people still like it.
It's an anomaly because you love it anyway, yes.
Yes.
No, because it's a testament to Tim Burton as a director.
Yeah,
how
Tim Burton's a great director.
Tone and atmosphere somehow do most of the heavy lifting, and the fact that there's no plot, like really any conventional movie plot, and everything is kind of boiled down to just archetypes.
And also a fun personality, because even though the dialogue scenes, like, yeah, they're not great or purposeful narratively, I still really like them because Tim Burton directs these guys with a lot of riz, with a lot of likability.
So allegedly, Michael Gough claimed that Joel Schumacher was a better actor's director. He said Tim Burton wasn't that interested in them like playing around with stuff.
That doesn't shock me.
Yeah.
But I do want to point out, so the Joker has put out this radio broadcast because, you know, the city has given him a name to his pain, and it's Batman. But he's put out this broadcast. He's going to do his own parade, and he's going to give out free money. That's the one thing. That's how you know it's a Reagan-era Batman movie, is the common working man, the humble proletariat, would eat off their own arm to screw over their fellow man for free money. Joker is able to lure all of Gotham into the street by just throwing Joker bills.
Yeah, well, they don't show it in the movie, but in the script and in the graphic novel adaptation, it is revealed that all the money that he's throwing as he's dancing to Prince is all Joker dollars. So he makes good on his promise.
Well, that would make a little more sense. Not in the film, as you say. So.
No, exactly. So after bombing the Axis chemical plant, and Joker escaping, Joker has enough time to have his own parade, and Batman has enough time to get back to the Batcave to get in the Batwing to fly over the Joker and not do anything until he starts killing people.
Where do you think the staging area was for Joker's parade? You know, he had to get Bob and all the goons. They had to get the balloons set up. The floats had to have drivers put in the place.
Yeah, did they rehearse?
They had to like set up barriers.
Who picked the music? Was it
Guys, this is all obvious. Who is the number one guy that we haven't seen for a while? It's Bob. Bob's been preparing this whole thing, which is why it's so heartbreaking that after Bob did all this, he just gets shot. It's so...
He's stealing my balloons!
That is horrifying to me. Yeah.
I love Jack Nicholson's delivery of, those are my balloons!
My balloons. Those are my balloons.
He stole my balloons!
Yeah, nothing gets to him quite like Batman stealing his balloons.
Yeah.
And Batman flies out and he shoots all of Joker's goons a little bit more. Actually, did you guys notice in the scene, there's some times where Batman just flies over. He's not even grabbing the balloons yet. And it causes the Joker men to fall off of the balloon and die.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you haven't even been shot yet or anything. They eventually get shot.
Kind of poor big picture planning.
Also, fun fact, at this point in the movie, Alexander Knox was supposed to die from exposure to Joker gas. Like, the last time you were going to see him was him in the
trash.
Yeah. And Vicky Vale was also going to die in this scene to inspire Batman to hate the Joker even more.
Right. Which I'm glad they didn't do that because...
Yeah, that would have been stupid.
I'm glad that they both survived because Robert Wuhl is... Just look at him. He has a funny voice. He has a funny face. We like Robert Wuhl.
What a dick.
Plus, then he got to be in the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover, and he got a sweet day rate for that cameo.
Exactly. And so we get to the moment of the movie. I think this is a microcosm of the movie on its own because you have Batman against the Joker. Batman is firing all of his guns.
Missing Joker.
But he's missing Joker, even though all of his targets are locked on him. And then, because this is a movie about the Joker, of course, pulls out a very long gun out of his pants and shoots the Batwing with one shot and takes it down. This is the movie in a nutshell. It's just these two characters, these two iconic characters battling each other. The story and logic be damned. They're just going to do things because it feels right.
Well, the whole climax is the Joker takes Vicky Vale King Kong style to the top of a church. The whole climax is Batman just going upstairs and then punching the Joker.
So Jake raises a good point. It's very cartoony. It kind of is like a Coyote Roadrunner cartoon stretched out to like 2 hours and 5 minutes. But who is the Coyote and who is the Roadrunner?
Well, the Joker dies, so none of them.
Wait, what? What do you think happens in the Coyote Roadrunner?
That's why I said none of them. None of them die.
No, Batman is clearly the Roadrunner, and the Joker is the Coyote.
Is the Coyote die in every or whatever?
Yeah, metaphysically.
But Batman does escape the Joker.
The Coyote does fall great distances at the end of every Roadrunner Coyote.
So anyway, they go to the tower for no reason.
Yes, he does. His helicopter is meeting him at the top of the cathedral.
That's it.
But that's something.
But why is the helicopter up on the building? Why is there a church here?
Why is there a church in a major city, Jake?
You can't. It's facts and logic, Jake. It makes absolute. This is airtight.
You've clearly never been to Chicago.
Paul, this is my point. Why I'm saying this is because this movie is a dream. This movie is all operating on purely animal brain instinct.
Well, it all looks good. Again, that's why this is a silent movie above all else. Because it's just the primal flow of the images.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Or it's just for dumb children with small brains, which we are.
They'll do something like the Joker has a retractable gun. And it's like, I guess that explains how it fit in his pants, maybe. But you know in your heart that's not why it fit in his
Yeah, it's just, I'm just saying, I love, again, the atmosphere here, the steps, the production design, immaculate. It's just bizarre. That's like, what are we going to do for the climax? He's going upstairs and killing everyone.
No, but it looks so cool. It's like in the 1925 Phantom of the Opera, where instead of leading Christine down, he's leading Vicky Vale up. And they look so angelic, those two. Well, Bruce Wayne as Batman is like tripping over pews.
Yeah.
He's like,
And just murdering motherfuckers left and right.
Yeah, he just killed.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of them climbing upstairs. I'll note remarkable restraint from Tim to not, because clearly, like when he looks down the giant endless spiral stairs, it's a miniature. He chose not to do the vertigo shot, even though they very easily could have done that, right?
Well, I was gonna say, is Tim Burton influenced by Hitchcock that much?
No.
No.
I mean, that scene has much more. It's like almost 1-to-1.
Well, that's a John Peters scene. Remember, Tim Burton did not come up with the idea of the cathedral tower.
Tim Burton is just trying to make it work.
The stairs was John Peters. Kim Basinger giving the Joker a blowjob. That's Tim Burton.
Oh my God. One of my favorite lines in the movie. We're Beauty and the Beast. But if anyone else ever calls you a beast, I'll rip their lungs out.
It's as though we were made for each other. Beauty and the Beast. Of course, if anyone else calls you Beast, I'll rip their lungs out.
Well, it's like, okay.
He's such a. This is why this Joker's such a Sigma. He's just goofy. He's just doing things like
he fires his gun and she screams and it's just bang.
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't have a big evil plan. He's not trying to make any statement about society. He's just fucking around, and I love that about him.
Well, yeah, this whole final fight is he dances with Kim Basinger while Bruce Wayne is just murdering goons for like 5 minutes, and that's like the
climax. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's weird. I like it, but it's weird.
We're talking about this like it's disappointing, but I think it's probably Batman Forever. I think is the only other climax in these original movies that I think gives it a run for its money. Because once you get the Batman Returns, that's when it's really like we have characters over here doing this. We have characters over here doing that. Someone's over here. Penguin's over here. Batman's over here.
I guess here they're in the same room, but they are still separate.
Yes. Well, in this movie, it's like a Mario game. He has to get the princess. He has to get up the
exactly.
level.
It's archetypal. All right, so we should wrap this up because we're almost at the end.
Okay, so Batman gets up to the top and he goes, "I'm gonna kill you."
In Justice League, he will say, "I will fucking kill you" to the Joker, but here he's just like,
he just says, I will kill you.
Kill you.
And then I just like when he's like beating him up, Joker's like, "No, you made me. You put me in therapy. I'm a millennial, baby." Yeah. And then he's like, "I'm Gen X. And you killed my parents."
Totally own that libtard.
"You idiot! You made me, remember? You dropped me to that vat of chemicals. That wasn't easy to get over. But don't think that I didn't try."
The gag where he punches him in the mouth and the fake teeth come out, A+.
Oh, yeah. Why does he have that?
Because he's the jokester.
And also, just so much blood spits out of his mouth, too.
And he has prop glasses. He's just a funny guy.
Well, wait, no. And then Batman's like, "You killed my parents." And Joker's like, "Okay, sorry." But you wouldn't hit a guy in glasses, would you?
Joker has his helicopter come and they get a ladder.
He knocks Joker off the balcony.
Oh, right.
They look, and then Joker somehow is immediately grabbed on, pulls them down, and climbs up.
Yeah, fun baby cartoon logic.
Yes.
Instead of asking the helicopter to maybe, I don't know, take Joker back to the balcony, away from the people.
They go even further away.
They go even further away and they're relying on him to climb up. And they don't even realize that Batman has grappled a gargoyle onto his foot. But it is, honestly, this death scene is given the same, like, it is just as grandiose as the fall of Tony Montana.
Or King Kong.
Yeah. It is like this tragedy. It's like he made it to the top of the church tower and then Batman had to weigh him down with a gargoyle and he came crashing down.
And he's like losing the grip, and Jack Nicholson has such fear in his eyes, and his henchmen who have just seen him murder Bob the Goon are like, they look genuinely sad. They're like, "Come on, boss!
You can do it, buddy.
Come on!"
Yeah, and then Danny Elfman is like playing to the nines. He's just like giving him like this really tragic score as he goes down one rung at a time, and then he falls.
No, but the best part of this scene is the implication that, like, if you tie your leg to a gargoyle and the helicopter's driving away, obviously the gargoyle, it's a rock attached to its church. It would rip the ladder and he would still fall. But the implication is that Jack Nicholson's fat ass thigh is so strong.
Yes!
That just rip the gargoyle.
He's able to just go down like one rung at a time. And also, he turns into a cartoon as he falls in some... I don't know why they do this.
Yeah.
I don't know why the effect was done that way, even though we've already seen an effect where they do like a process shot.
Well, like Die Hard.
A guy falling.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they could have done Die Hard, but no, he turns into a toon. I paused it and I'm like, because it always tripped me out. I'm like, why does it look like that? And I'm like, oh, they took an image of Jack Nicholson looking up like this and then put it over like a cartoon silhouette until he reaches at some point halfway down, and then he turns into a complete cartoon silhouette.
It looks like an edit in one of our clips when we mask.
Yes, it does. It's so weird.
We'll get to this in a couple of weeks, but I'm pretty sure Nolan duplicated this exact shot when Heath Ledger falls off.
I think so too.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing there.
I noted to Jake, yes, I don't know what it means, but Batman starts this movie as a tune and the Joker ends it as a tune.
No, it's the Coen Brothers influence. It's the cyclical storytelling. Yeah. And also like when they find the laughing box on Joker's chest, it's like so sad.
It's horrifying.
Yeah.
As a kid, I didn't know the Joker was allowed to die. So I'm like looking at that as a kid, and I'm like, well, his eyes are open, right? He's awake.
He's okay. He's okay.
The Joker is fine, right, Mom?
Joker, speak to me.
Everything about this moment is so haunting, and it's presented as a tragedy, but as a kid you're watching this, and this is the most horrifying image you've ever seen in your life, because Jack Nicholson gives his most demented face ever.
Yeah.
There's like a giant cartoon, like he made an impact and he broke cement. And he's still in one piece, but there's blood everywhere.
No blood.
No, there is blood. There's blood. If you watch the 4K, there is blood everywhere. On top of that, you have like the laughing box, and they somehow got like the creepiest laugh ever coming out of that laughing box. And you're just like, this is nightmare fuel. This is complete nightmare fuel.
When I was a kid and I used to watch that scene, I was always like, he was faking his laugh the whole time.
He was using performance-enhancing laugh box.
What a cheater. He's no real Joker. But yeah, it's like, here's the bat signal and the movie ends.
He gave us a signal.
But Vicky Vale is still with Batman because Batman, by killing the ultimate incel, has become the ultimate Chad.
Yeah.
Yes. And also Vicky Vale says goodbye to Alexander Knox as if she's leaving the city, but no, because she's getting into Bruce Wayne's car driven by Alfred.
Hell yeah, but also she's leaving the city because she's not coming back for the next
No, dude, literally. But like, look at it this way. Batman starts incel, ends up Chad. Joker begins Chad, turns incel. Batman begins cartoon, Joker ends cartoon. It's all the cyclical. It's
tides go in, tides go out.
Tides go out. You can't explain that. You can't explain that.
I can't.
Paul is like, I actually can't.
That's why this movie is so entertaining.
It's beyond all reason.
Every character has a journey. Every character has a transformation. I don't know what any of the transformations are trying to say. Or what I'm supposed to take from it.
It's an impression of a transition.
They're bad, but they're there.
That's the thing that matters with the strength of this movie. It's the impression of a transition. It's the weird psychological fuck this movie gives you where it's like, it feels right, even though there's no reason why any of this makes sense.
We're supposed to be reassured. Was Batman throwing the Joker off a cathedral what got the police to make him like an official guy?
Well, yeah, because he was cutting away the Joker's balloons and he shot a bunch of people and threw the Joker off a building. And they're like, yep.
He did it!
We defeated the Joker. We give him a signal. He is officially a deputized Batman.
All right, so I feel like this is a good segue for final thoughts, baby.
We did it! We covered the biggest movie of 1989 domestically.
Well, the biggest movie in 1989 in a year of the biggest movies of all time.
My ranking for The Big Cheese. I'll start with that. So, the look, perfect.
Yes.
Obviously, it's Jack Nicholson. He's got the permanent smile. It's sort of designed by Tim Burton. It's classic Joker clown from the suit from the comics. I love it. The actual Joker, we've said it. He's the fucking Chad Sigma Alpha Omega whatever have you. He decided not to play this as like Jack Torrance's Joker. He's just a complete goofball. which makes him even more awesome to me because he's stealing the show. He's loving every single scene. He is going for it. He's criticizing society in a very subtle way by playing Prince in an art museum. So this is when the Joker really starts coming into being cinematically. I know I gave the last Joker a 9.9 out of 10, but this one's substantially better. So I'm going to have to give him an 11 out of 10. Perfect Joker. The movie itself, as we've mentioned, the screenplay is borderline atrocious.
Yes.
Nothing has content. There's no like big scheme to anything. It's very hollow thematically, character-wise. Very few things actually follow through. But then again, we gotta remember, it is a superhero movie made for children, and it is operating on a certain level.
Where people get set on fire and everyone fucks.
Yeah, children like that. Deal with it.
A guy gets turned into a fucking skeleton.
Like in Spider-Man.
Right, both movies made for adults.
Yay!
And I was actually kind of shocked, coming from Batman 66 and this one, how not only this is arguably equally as silly as that one, but Batman 66 genuinely has stronger theme and character and arcs. You know?
Correct.
Yes.
However, what drives this movie, like we've said, really is a young guy by the name of John Peters and Tim Burton.
Yes.
Just the atmosphere, the art direction, everything is so fucking... You just want to drench in this world. This like punk, expressionist noir thing with Prince music in the background. And Tim Burton, he gets a lot of credit for obviously his artistic knack, which is commendable, but I don't think he gets enough credit as just a director that's really good at getting a lot of personality across on screen. I think his movies are really funny. The acting is really good. Everyone's oddly relatable, even though we're in weird Tim Burton world. And just because of that alone, I mean, it kind of forgives mostly everything else. Like I said, it has problems, but I am more of a Batman Returns guy because that is more focused with themes and character, and I think it's cooler visually. He's learned more since this one. But this one, just because of that, I think is still a joy to watch. Burton, he had already made some great movies. He will go on to make even better ones in the future, like Mars Attacks. And for that reason, congratulations, Tim. I am going to give this piece of shit screenplay you directed an 8 out of 10.
All right, I'll be quick. You guys seem more invested.
Paul is like drooping in his Joker makeup.
Yeah,
He's like, what have I
Paul is
got
in his
myself
Sleepy
into?
Joe era.
My Joker makeup is melting, and
His beret is like fully on the side
Paul
of his
Snow. I call him Sleepy Paul. Sleepy Paul.
Sleepy Paul.
Yes, this film truly is an idea, you know? Everyone said, I mean, look, even Tim Burton, basically everyone, like Roger Ebert, everybody is like, this is not a movie. This is a branding event, right?
Yes.
And the movie is part of that. But this is only one part of the thing that they called Batmania back in 1989.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very funny and telling that, yeah, Jake, I had not seen the trailer until Jake showed it to me like a month or so ago. And it's literally just raw dailies, right? Like, there's nothing to it, right? There's no music. There's no story. It's just, I'm Batman. I'm the Joker. Nice outfit. Car drive, you know? And that was it. That's all it needed to be, right?
Yeah, it's just
explosions.
Batman symbol, summer 89. Here's clips from the movie. We're not even going to bother to edit a trailer.
And that's pretty much what the movie is.
Yeah.
Look, guys, we take Batman for granted now, but back in 1989, they didn't have any live action Batman. All they had was the 3 years of live action Batman that was made for $20. They made this movie for $40. So it looked dope, and people wanted this so bad.
It's super hardcore and badass and dark and not funny. And don't you call it funny? And
Party
this was
City.
such a gratifying moment for the world. Jack, he's very good. I mean, it'll be interesting to revisit The Dark Knight with this in mind, because watching this, I'm like, oh, right, I did forget. It had been a while since I'd seen this. I did forget just how goofy he gets. And I realized, like, wait a minute. I mean, I know the voice is not the same, but like Heath Ledger might be more Jack Nicholson than Jack Nicholson's take on the Joker.
Yeah.
Because most of his lines in The Dark Knight is like, you could easily imagine Jack Torrance saying the shit that he says in The Dark Knight, not the oop oop, you know. So I'm gonna go into further with that in mind. Jack's still pretty good. I mean, I guess I didn't see this as a young kid, so like I don't know, but like the face is a little weird to me. Like, yeah, the color scheme is all good, but I'm like, it's neither fish nor fowl. The smile, you know, it's fine,
Paul.
It's good.
Kill Paul. I'm going to Michael E. Uslan you.
You're going to bend over backwards to defend whatever I say.
Shit.
Anyway, I was going to say, perhaps the Joker's greatest trick in this film is it's more his movie than Batman, and yet his development is still kind of nothing. Like, it doesn't add anything. You know, no one's developed really.
It really has the same level of characterization as Drew Russell.
You're right.
I'm the Joker, baby.
Well, we've learned that the iconic moments for all these characters is just when they say who they are. You know, it's just, I'm Batman, I'm the Joker baby, Pika Pika. You know,
I'm Vicky Vale,
and so on. But no, the look is good. I'm going to say, as a Joker, I think Jack did level up from old Joker, Mr. Romero. I think I'm gonna give the Joker and the movie, I'll say 8 out of 10. I think the Joker is a step up. The film is definitely a step down, but there's still a good time.
Yeah, I should get the Joker out of the way. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, Jan, saying that Jack Nicholson as the Joker is not scary. I mean, he is funny, but that's what makes him all the more terrifying.
Maybe it's because I'm more in tune with the Joker, and maybe Joker is just normal to me at this point.
That could be. Maybe I'm not Joker enough.
Guys, why are we trying so hard to be 4chan?
Because this is a Joker podcast. What do you mean?
It's a Joker podcast. What are you talking about? Well, it makes sense because you're Batman, you know.
I'm Batman.
Anyway, yeah, Jack Nicholson, well, ideally casting, that's the #1 guy that you would pick, and he delivers in spades. He's fucking around, but he's also trying, and he also knows how to be menacing, and being menacing means just doing whatever the hell you want. Essentially being completely limitless and not bound by any sort of plot structure or story or character development. You are just doing things that seem to make sense in the moment. It's just, you're at an art museum, you're into art. Why not? You know, you have a pen, it's a dagger, and you throw it into a guy's neck. Not to mention just the permanent smile on his face with Jack Nicholson's fucking weird ass like eyes and his gaze. That image was like on the back of the VHS box art, and that scared the shit out of me alone. And I have to say, as a kid, I always had nightmares that I would be in my bed and I'd look out the window and Jack Nicholson's Joker would show up with a gun and try to kill me because you could buy, he's like, this guy will do he's gonna kill you just for no reason, just because he's the Joker. He's completely unpredictable.
To this day, Jake has never been to a Lakers game.
He thinks he's gonna stab you with one of those chili cheese fries.
Yeah. He's simultaneously hilarious and terrifying because the movie cannot contain him. Yeah, and the Joker makeup is completely like the comics with the down to the costume, whatever. Yeah, Jack Nicholson's a 10 out of 10. He's perfect. He's absolutely perfect. Menacing, hilarious, great. Is it my favorite Joker? No, but it's the Joker that scares me the most out of every single incarnation of the character.
Is he the scary? All right. Yes, continue.
I think he is, in my opinion.
Yeah, you might have a point.
A certain Dr. Michael Morbius will take issue with that.
Well, Well, not everyone can be an idea, but no one can be Jack.
That's true.
Anyway, the movie itself, like I said with Jack Nicholson, it is completely uninhibited by any sort of conventional plot or script. If you're looking at it on paper, it's an argument I have made repeatedly to Paul and other people. It's just like, if you write down the series of events of what happened in this movie, by all accounts, this should be a complete clusterfuck. This should be worse than Quantum of Solace, which was also made during a strike. Like, the unifying thing of this movie is Tim Burton and his visual style. It weirdly enough, it kind of reminds me of, like certain Disney movies in like the 50s or 60s, where they're not really going off of any sort of conventional plot. It's all about what is the character doing in the moment, what is the gag.
Yeah.
And it's kind of taped together, and there's kind of a plot, but there's even less of a plot.
The fairies are making a cake for 20 minutes, that kind of thing.
You mean the best written movies of all time?
No.
Well.
No, I mean the movies that are outdated because they didn't know how to write back then.
Back in the 50s, they were lucky to just know how to hit the keys on a typewriter.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is that the thing that Tim Burton is able to do is boil everything down to a visual cohesion. It's like the guy dressed up as a bat that's shaped like triangles is going up against the colorful bloated man dressed as the Joker. And that is the persistent
the
thing.
colorful bloated man.
Another great rapper name.
This is what the movie boils down to, and it knocks that out of the park in spades and is the thread that keeps everything together. Top of all that, you're in like this weird German expressionist hellscape that's a great arena for everyone to fight in. The weakest part of the movie, yeah, it's the script. It's the characters as defined by a conventional script, but at least the iconography stays intact, and the iconography keeps a flow going and creates like this weird, and I've said this multiple times, it makes it feel like a dream.
And the music helps with that a lot too.
It doesn't make sense, but it feels right in this moment. And that's what this movie is, a collection of scenes that feel right in the moment. And somehow it all clicks together through cinematic alchemy and Tim Burton's direction. I love this movie. Fuck it, I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. I don't give a shit. Come at me, bro.
Yeah, that's such a Joker move. That's a Sigma Joker move.
Anyone who actually rolled over from our previous season, they're like, these guys are pretty harsh. They'll be fair to the movies. This one,
not with the Joker, baby.
When I was a little boy, I thought the Joker was going to shoot me.
I don't care. I got to speak my truth. We live in a society.
When I was little, I thought the Joker would shoot me in my house. 10 out of 10.
All right. I guess it's my turn. When I was a child, I was so scared of the Tim Burton Batman movie. I would watch the Schumacher Batman movies a lot, but I was scared. I thought this movie was rated R thanks to Blockbuster, so that was scary. And also, he set people on fire, and he stabbed people in the neck, and he messed up people's faces. How spooky. So, getting to the Joker himself, I'm going to give this design 10 out of 10. No notes. He looks just like the Joker. The hair is the right shade of green. It's white face, ruby red lipstick without doing the messed up smile. I don't care about the smile. He just has normal man lips. Just give him normal man lips. That's all I want from my Joker.
Well, he has a slight exaggerated smile that goes out of the lines, but it's light.
But it doesn't overpower it. No scar tissue. And he has the purple suit, which is just as important. So I'm giving that a 10 out of 10. The only issue is that Jack Nicholson has a human face, not a weird triangle face. And he should have more of a triangle.
Jack Nicholson does not have a human face. I will stop you right
Which brings me to my next point. Jack Nicholson as Joker. Jack Nicholson loved playing the Joker. He said it was his favorite role he ever played, and he was genuinely upset he was not invited back for The Dark Knight. He also got a cut of the profits, which might have helped make the memory rosy, because he felt he had complete freedom as the Joker. It's funny, as a kid, I remember thinking, this Joker's not a great Joker. He just kind of, he's scary, but he's just there for a week, and then he gets killed. He's not a long-term endurance-built Joker. And it's kind of Jack Nicholson playing Jack Nicholson as the Joker. They wrote it to his strengths. He has fun. But of all the people playing the Joker, he probably disappears. Yeah, no, Jack Nicholson disappears the least into the role. You're always kind of aware you're watching Jack Nicholson play the Joker. However, that was a great casting choice. And watching him this time, I was kind of blown away all over again. He is scary. He is funny. All his kills, that's the thing. That's what Cesar Romero was missing, was the kills. You need to have great, horrifying kills to be the Joker. And Jack Nicholson might have some of the best Joker kills of any Joker. And he is having a blast. His laugh might not be the most distinctive. I think it's kind of a, what is it? It's like a... like it's not a super distinctive laugh.
Jack Torrance laugh, basically.
Yeah, but he is having so much fun and he is nailing it. And if I think a lot of the wonkiness in this movie comes from the depiction of Batman, and I also think the wonkiness in Batman Returns comes from the depictions of Penguin and Catwoman. I think Tim Burton wisely realized that you can't be classic Joker, and he just did classic Joker, and we're all the better for it. I still think he feels a little small. I think making him the killer of Batman's parents is one of those things that works great in a screenwriting class, and I don't think it hurts the movie, but it just makes him feel small time. I don't think there is that big of a personality shift from Jack Napier to Joker, so he just kind of feels like a mob guy. I actually kind of hate that the Joker dies at the end of this movie. I would prefer a Joker that goes the distance. As it is, I would give this Joker a 10 out of 10 in terms of movie villains, but only a 9 out of 10 as a Joker, because he's only my 4th favorite Joker. There was a time where he was my 5th favorite Joker, but then they made more seasons of Harley Quinn, and now I'm not fully sold on Alan Tudyk's Joker being better than what we get here, so he remains my 4th favorite Joker. In terms of the movie, I think Jake actually did cover a lot of my points. This movie is strange because the script, it's either a German expressionist fantasia or the amoral fantasy of an 8-year-old, which is just like...
of a Reaganite 8-year-old.
That also hates corporate consumption, I guess, too.
It was a weird time.
Wait, I'm starting to realize the guy who made Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Sweeney Todd may actually endorse extreme business practices if they get the job done.
Shocking.
Candy doesn't need to have a point.
I've been thinking about this because everyone is on board with Superman being a great movie. The first Christopher Reeve Superman movie being a great movie, which has a similarly messy script.
I think it's more functional, though, than the...
Well, why is it more functional? Because it has an actual, like, theme?
Yes.
Because what Superman is trying to help people, and in some ways that movie is all about people helping people. Jor-El helping his son, Superman helping Lois Lane and connecting with her. Like, the difference between Batman and Superman the movie is in Superman the movie, when Lex Luthor betrays his main henchman, Ms. Tessmacher, there's this whole scene where Superman is like, I'll help you, Ms. Tessmacher, and it's that empathy that gets him out of the jam he's in. In this movie, when the Joker betrays his main henchman, it's a gag. It's like, it's a funny thing that you enjoy in the moment, but you're kind of like, why did he do that?
Because he's the
Joker, baby.
Yeah.
It's real Joker logic we're running on here. And even the 1966 Batman movie, Adam West cares more about saving people. Michael Keaton Batman just wants to kill as many people as he can until he gets to the guy who killed his parents, which luckily, through pure happenstance, he does. And that's the plot of this movie. However, yes, why does this movie still strike a chord? Is because, as you said, Jake, Tim Burton is such good at getting the archetypes. And him and Anton Furst and Danny Elfman have boiled these characters down into dark bat, evil clown. And it's like watching them go toe-to-toe over this scape. Every scene by itself, even though the characters are walking in weird directions, like the drama of every scene is so potent. And every movie feels like this immortal cinematic gem that you can't look away. This doesn't happen in Batman Returns, where Tim Burton disappears up his own butthole, and you get all these weird tangents that don't flow together.
He just hates fun things.
It's not fun. It's like feel bad for the penguin. Feel bad for the Catwoman.
That's a story.
Yeah.
It's not a story. Penguin's gonna kill all the babies. Penguin's gonna run for mayor.
We didn't say it was a good story.
Yeah, no, it's more of a story.
I dispute this because I think the Vicky Vale relationship somehow is more of a through line than Batman and Catwoman being like, oh, get me coffee. Oh, you're at a party.
Catwoman's an actual character.
Are we just? I honestly lost for a minute which movie we're talking about. This is driving the same thing.
They are kind of similar. I just think the issue is Batman Returns kind of overloaded it. While this movie, it's just Batman, Joker, Vicky Vale. You got the Trinity. They're going at it. Even though I have qualms with Batman being a psycho killer, I can't deny cinema. And this movie is very entertaining. So while very problematic, and I'm glad this is not the last word on the Batman-Joker cinematic rivalry, I still have a very good time watching this movie. I must give it a lower rating than normal, a 9 out of 10.
Oh,
my goodness.
Okay.
Yeah, I still love what, like even today, I'm like, God, this movie's amoral, but it sure is fun.
No, it's great.
It's what the Hollywood Reporter Rolling Stone calls a triumph.
Fun fact, Jack Nicholson was not nominated for the Joker for an Oscar. And Anton First, when he won the Oscar for this movie, his whole speech was, why the hell didn't you nominate Jack Nicholson for the Joker? And the Academy sat their white asses down and listened and nominated everyone else.
We'll sit our white asses down and make them even whiter. We'll nominate the whitest boy
But it
ever.
was okay because the next year they would nominate Al Pacino and Dick Tracy, and they thought that made up for it.
That is true.
Very Joker coded.
Oh my God. Wait, can we talk about how crazy it was that this movie was so successful that all studio heads looked at each other, looked at what property rights they had, and they're like, people like heroes from the mid-1930s.
Yeah, Batman had the bat symbol. Dick Tracy has his silhouette.
He has a yellow coat, which is like the bat symbol in that it is yellow.
The Shadow has his face.
The Phantom has purple.
Well, guys, we just did the real greedy, totally serious Batman movie. Next week, unfortunately, we have a dumb kitty cartoon.
That is better written and more of a movie than this movie.
I don't know what you're talking about. Cartoons are dumb.
We'll talk about it next week, but it is funny that Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel were like, this cartoon respects our intelligence more than the live-action Batman movies of the time. And it's like, yes. Yes, it did.
It's true. I look forward to it. Jake lent me his Batman book. The Joker is in it once.
Did he just make the connection with like, wait a minute, the Joker from the movie is the Joker from the book?
I've seen this man so
wait a minute, Bruce Wayne is Batman.
Okay, anyway, in the spirit of Batman number 46, I think?
Correct.
At the end, he says, thanks for being with us again this week. Joke and I look forward to these little get-togethers with all you listeners every week in Yolt Presents Joker's Trick. Let's make it a standing date.
Woo!
Oh!
Wait, did he say Joke or is that Robin?
Obviously not.
Okay.
Who's Joke? Well, see you guys for a real movie next week. Bye-bye.
Yeah, one of my favorites.
See you later. Bye. It's going to be fun.
Bye.
Never rub another man's rhubarb.
Bob Dylan for Joker.